What is going on, everybody? It is episode 504 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Brett didn't give me a warning today, but I will not be caught off guard. I am prepared today. And yesterday was kind of more on the dour side, talking about kids with cancer and that Disney boss who died after becoming an influencer. So I feel like today's topics are more on the lighter side of things. And today joining us is Coffee Lady. How are you?
I'm doing great. Happy Wednesday. I'm happy to be back. I know you guys were gone last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're back on.
Her name is Sarah. It's not actually Coffee Lady.
No, her name is Coffee Lady.
I don't know a Sarah.
Sarah the Coffee Lady. It's Lady Sells Coffee on Twitter.
Yes. Thanks
So,
for the plug.
Guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. You might have seen the hullabaloo going on online.
Hullabaloo.
Yeah, yes.
The hullabaloo.
Yeah. There was a bunch of discussion going on online about the fact that Taylor Swift has been named Time Magazine's Person of the Year. It's kind of a big topic because she touches every side of the culture. Depending on who you follow online, you'll see various people kind of fitting how she, fitting her persona and her as a person into the framework of their social media interaction. So we'll get into that. We'll talk about whether it fits for Person of the Year. And it is Person of the Year. It's not Man of the Year. It's not Woman of the Year. It's not Person of the Year. That's not what's being debated here. But that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. I was sent this video yesterday about this absolutely unhinged idea. There is a Disney adults dating app that you too could join nowadays called Meet Upon Maine. And me and Mary spent more time than we would like to admit last night, looking through the app.
Once we discovered it, I obviously had to make an account on this Disney adult dating app to see what it was all about. And it's not a scam. It's not a joke. It's all real. And it's extremely cringe. We're not going to show any of their profiles, although I kind of wish I could. The evil part of me wishes that we could expose these weirdos, but yeah.
We're gonna talk about that. We are also gonna talk about one of the writers of Barbie, Noah Baumbach, who's actually the husband of Greta Gerwig.
Okay, if you're a feminist, your husband is your partner.
He is the partner of Greta Gerwig, who is of course the director of the movie, and he's kind of hitting back at the fact that people were upset about what they call the anti-male message, the jokes about patriarchy in the movie Barbie.
Which weren't actually jokes; they were just a real feminist polemic.
Yeah. So we'll get into that. Also, reality TV star turned influencer Kristen Cavallari, she basically said that if you are a woman, you should just go around and let any dude you want put his D inside you. So that's what she's saying on the first date.
Yeah, I mean, she's saying it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Which is obviously untrue.
Yeah, so we're going to get into that. We got a bunch of other stuff to talk about. But before we do, guys, would you hit the like button on this video and would you subscribe to this channel? If you have not subscribed here already, we have passed 81,000 subscribers. We are on our way.
We passed 82.
82?
Yeah.
82, okay.
82.1K right now, so there's no stopping there.
We are on our way to 100,000 subscribers, so please, if you have not already subscribed, please go ahead and do that, especially if you are new here, because we've had new people viewing, which is fantastic. Also, remember to share these videos with your friends. We want more people to join us so they too can laugh at Taylor Swift being named Person of the Year. Also, remember, all Super Chats, $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We will read those Super Chats right then and there, and then we will do our best to get back on topic as best we can after that. We do read all the Super Chats throughout the day. So if you ladies are ready, we can just go ahead and get started. Mary, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Sarah, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Well, first, before we do
I always feel like SpongeBob when you ask me that.
Well, good.
I'm ready.
Good, that's perfect. So we mentioned yesterday that we do finally have a Let's Go mug available for you guys to get.
Allow us to shill again.
Yes, I want to shill the mug, which you can get in black or white.
Depending on how racist you are.
Depending on, your racial preference, you can go ahead and buy either of these mugs, which is fantastic. But we also added a shirt yesterday, which is this one that Mary wanted made, which says, "Everything I don't like is a psyop."
Yeah. So the Let's Go mug was more of a Brett reference. This is more of a Mary reference for all of you who are on the same page. Everything that we don't like, it's a psyop.
There you go. That's
confirmed.
That's perfect. Also, somebody mentioned yesterday that they wanted to get the long sleeve in black, but they only saw it in purple. But if you click on the link, there actually are other colors, so you can do so there.
Yeah.
Somebody had mentioned that in the chat yesterday. I wanted to say that they can do that with that logo as well as the EKG logo, or that was as well as the one with the actual name of the podcast on there.
It looks that way because we have our finger on the pulse of the culture.
There, that was great.
Beautiful.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. This is a very weird story. So if you guys don't know, right now over at Disney, things seem to be free falling. Wish is doing really, really horrible. The Marvels, which is of course a Marvel property, which is a subsidiary of Disney, is bombing and about to leave the box office. Well, we had the strike that went on for an extended period of time, which means like, what are they going to do in the next year? Well, Disney has a plan, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like they're going to be re-releasing a bunch of Disney Pixar movies that were released straight to Disney Plus, and they're just going to dump them in theaters at the start of next year. We've got Soul, Turning Red, and Luca, which are going to be coming out on January 12th, February 9th, and March 22nd, respectively.
Why should anyone bother to go to these movies in theaters?
Well, I mean,
they're over a year old.
Disney Plus doesn't have a massive, I mean, it's got a large subscriber base, so but there's still plenty of people who...
Doesn't this just further disincentivize people from subscribing to the platform, which is the goal?
Yeah, but now they're going to have, I think a big part of it is they're going to have a bunch of open windows here from movies that didn't get made. So they've got to fill slots, right? And this is at the start of the year. The new year is traditionally a fairly dead time at the box office after New Year. So they're filling in gaps right there.
I guess.
And if it's winter and parents are like January, like kids are going to be back in school. So it's not like they've got something going on here where it's like over the holidays where kids can go and see these movies on break, but these are kids' movies that didn't necessarily hit it out of the park. But they referenced the fact that the movie Elemental got a theater release and through good word of mouth ended up actually making a decent amount of money at the box office as their logic for doing this.
Well, maybe they'll have good returns on these. I don't expect it to, but these movies that they made like after COVID were all filler movies, or so it seemed at the time anyway. And Turning Red, I still find that whole premise weird. It's about a little girl getting her period that is personified in this anthropomorphic character that follows her around. I don't understand why that should be the premise for any kids movie.
Was this movie popular?
I don't remember it being all that talked about.
I mean, it got talked about by people in this space.
It also had like a little nod to like trans propaganda because there was a trans flag shown in it, a trans character wearing the trans flag.
It got a little bit of play in this space.
I wonder like why these movies? I mean, I know Soul was like pretty big
because they didn't get theater releases, and one of the things people have a problem with is that when the pandemic happened and then afterwards, they stopped releasing Pixar movies in theaters and started just releasing their Disney animated movies in theaters. And Pixar still carries a lot of weight as far as name, brand, and art style.
Strange World did badly. Lightyear did badly.
Yeah.
Both Disney, not Pixar specifically.
I think Lightyear is a Pixar.
It is?
I think Lightyear is a Pixar movie. Because
I didn't
Toy Story
watch
was a Pixar movie.
Luca. It came out in 2021. So I didn't realize this, but they literally just recycled the plot line of The Little Mermaid and gender swapped Ariel.
Do you want to read it for us?
This is a coming of age story about a young boy named Luca and his best friend Alberto, who are harmless sea monsters. I don't think you can be a monster if you're harmless. But they're from another world below the ocean's surface. Luca takes notice of a clock and a Joker card that he found on the ocean floor. His mother is highly protective of him and warns him of being caught by anyone from the surface. This is literally just the Little Mermaid storyline. Did anyone tell them that before they made this movie? Or were they just thinking, we need to make a Pixar movie with a Latinx lead? and we'll just start with that character and then make the story around it. That's what it seems like they're doing.
Yeah.
They come up with the character, they design a character to fit check all these boxes, and then they make the story afterwards and fit them in there somehow, and it doesn't work.
So this is what Pixar chief Peter Docter said about the streaming debuts, which he believes is what it's doing is it's training people to see Disney animated movies as the superior product and Pixar movies as what would have back in the day have been essentially straight to DVD sequels, like Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, if anybody actually watched that one.
Does anyone remember that one?
Says in the long run, there's been a bit of a mixed blessing because we've trained audiences that these films will be available for you on Disney Plus, he told Variety. Also, it's more expensive for a family of 4 to go to a theater when you know you can wait and it'll come out on the platform. Now, movies that did really, really well this year did not make it to streaming. I mean, Barbie just came out on streaming very recently. Same with, I think, Oppenheimer. The movies that do well, they keep them off of the streaming service as long as they could. So you spend a good amount of time in the theaters, then they go to pay VOD, which I forget is a thing sometimes. Like when we were in Nashville, I had to watch cable, which is just
Oh gosh.
horrible.
You don't have to watch something.
But here's the thing. Like, I'm starting to kind of like the commercials as background noise. I'll never actually.
I do, yeah.
I'll never
I do
actually
sometimes.
look at them by choice, but if I have to, I do. But the point is one of the things that they're advertising. One of the things that they're advertising when you go down the menu is like all these movies that you can get pay VOD right now or on demand, right? So they make a good amount of money doing that after the fact. But if you're just dumping these movies straight to a streaming service and you're spending massive amounts of money to get them made, you're really losing out on a bunch of investment because they have seemingly, for the most part, maxed out their subscriber counts on these platforms. They're growing, but they're not growing at the rate that they once were. Netflix has proven time and time again that as crappy as it is the superior streaming service when it comes to subscriber count, right? It's the only one that turns an actual profit. Amazon Prime literally is just subsidized by the fact that there was an ad for one of the ads for one of the things that came, or I think it had been for not the Minecraft trailer. What was the trailer that came out recently? There was a trailer for something from Amazon Prime recently. It said, from the studio that brought you The Boys and 2 days free shipping. Like, it's subsidized
That's
by
all
the
they
fact. Yeah, it's well, no, but they have other stuff. They have stuff that I love. They have Reacher. What they should start doing is saying, from the studio that unfortunately brought you Rings of Power, as like a mea culpa for it. But none of these streaming services are bringing in enough investment from the subscriber base to warrant releasing it only here. When you're leaving money on the table, you at least get a certain amount of people back by having people go to the theater. Disney has diehards, which means Pixar has diehards. All of the Disney movies that came out this year had higher audience scores than critic scores, because if you're going to a Disney movie, unless you're us and you're dragging me there kicking and screaming because we have to review it, you probably already like Disney to begin with.
Right. Well, you're saying that they were prioritizing the Disney movies over the Disney animated movies over the Pixar movies.
Yes.
Yet the quality of the Disney animated movies is not any better than the Pixar movies. So what? Like that whole model doesn't make sense. I mean, we watched Wish. It didn't look any better than Pixar movies. It wasn't written any better than Pixar movies.
Yeah.
It was worse.
But we didn't see Elemental. And we didn't see, like, we just skipped Elemental. Like, I mean, there was something else that came out around that time, I think.
So that was on streaming first and then went to theaters and did well?
No, it was which one?
Elemental?
No, Elemental went to theaters for it. We have a $20 super chat here from Not That John Stewart. He says Fallout trailers. Yeah, it's the trailer for the new Fallout show from Jonathan Nolan, which a lot of people are saying looks cheap.
Is it on Amazon?
It's an Amazon property. I think it looks okay, but it had the very beginning had Michael Emerson, and I'm very partial to Michael Emerson, so that could be my own bias speaking. But no, so what happened with Elemental was it didn't do well opening weekend. Mm-hmm. It had a very mediocre opening weekend, but it had strong word of mouth amongst fans and had very, very long legs at the box office. So it made a good amount of money over time. It made like $500 million.
Okay. That's still not a profit.
Still not a huge profit, but it did better than anything else that was being released from them at that time. So the idea here may be what they're hoping for is that a bunch of people who don't have Disney Plus will go see some of these movies, and hopefully good word of mouth will get people to want to go see it on the big screen. I don't think that really works because logically speaking, like we said before, Disney has a very diehard fan base, which means they likely already have Disney Plus. Like if you're going to see a Disney movie opening weekend, there's probably a strong correlation between going to see a Disney movie opening weekend and having Disney Plus anyways. So a lot of people, but families may want to go bring their kids to see this for the sake of having something to do over the winter. I don't know. But
I guess that's their hope.
Yeah.
I mean, I recently saw The Matrix in theaters when it was like out again.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I almost didn't go, but I was like, oh, when is this ever going to be in theaters again? And that's a cult classic. And even that, I was sort of like, I guess I'll go watch it.
Those times when they re-release something in theaters, it's for a classic or for something
like Rocky
that
Horror.
Yeah,
or
people really want to have the experience of seeing it in a theater.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because they care about the movie, and no one gives a crap about these filler Pixar movies that came out after
probably
the pandemic.
like streamed 100 times if they liked it in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's very interesting for them to point this out, but a lot of it is probably that they feel that Pixar is losing the luster that the Pixar name once had. Pixar used to be a very big. There's a reason why it had to be bought by Disney, because Bob Iger has one move. He buys everything because Disney is actually a creatively bankrupt, empty black hole of art now. They don't know how to create. They know how to buy.
Yep.
It's a purchase factory.
And re-release.
Which they just did. They just bought Hulu. And a company that's like $8 gazillion in debt just spent billions to buy Hulu because Bob Iger only knows how to do one thing, and that's to buy stuff. So... All right, let's talk about, we have two stories. So originally we talked about, I wanted to talk about this the other day. It's the story about JiDion, who was a YouTube prankster who has found...
We love those.
Yes, it's just a prank, bro. He has found God. And then yesterday I found this story about Daddy Yankee, who now has also found himself on the same path, and they have both given up their chosen professions, one as a musician and one as a YouTube pranker, yes, that is a job, to give themselves to God.
Yeah. So JiDion released this video in September called I'm Turning My Life to Christ, and recently he updated that with an explanation for why he deleted all of his old videos, his prank content that went viral from him just being a menace to society, as prank YouTubers do.
This would have made more sense if the guy who got shot in the mall turned himself over to God.
I was hoping for his redemption arc, but I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon.
Yeah. That guy was like, I'm never giving up pranking on YouTube.
So in this video, he just showed a bunch of examples of him contradicting scripture, basically, of him causing mischief, deceiving people, leading to people losing their jobs even, and provoking people into an angry reaction by invading their personal space. And I don't know why you would need to become Christian to realize those things are bad. As a Christian, I feel like anyone, common sense would tell you that is bad behavior.
I'll ask you this. Do you think, at least for JiDion, who made himself a public persona through a certain type of activity, right? Does that mean, like, he was a social media performer, right? A social media persona, whereas the other person was more of a mainstream celebrity. Do you think that he just turns like he just becomes a Christian YouTuber?
Well, he did start a new channel, which he linked in this why I deleted all my videos description, called JiDion. So I looked at the description. He said, "Welcome to JiDion. I believe everything the Bible says, and my mission is to get people to turn back to the Most High God and truly follow Jesus. I pray one of the videos touches your heart and leads you to God." So his new internet persona is on a whole new channel that's growing right now, and he's making a lot of videos related to religion, but I assume he's going to also make some mainstream content.
So please tell me, will there be like approved church prank content?
I don't know. He says,
so unfunny.
Well, this is what like kind of surprised me, is he says that pranks in general, because they require you to deceive people, are sinful. And he went to a reference from Proverbs 26 to prove this. Like a maniac shooting flaming arrows of death is one who deceives their neighbor and says, I was only joking. And says, it was just a prank, bro.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, we're going to get one where he's like, I replaced the blood of Christ with diet.
I do think there's a way to
cranberry juice.
tell jokes and even do pranks that's not sinful. But if he feels he needs to go all the way to the other extreme and never do pranks again, then
He might
good for
just
him.
be like on that born again wave. It might kind of, even out after a while.
He auto-tunes the pastor's microphone so that he sounds like T-Pain while he's...
But you should send him these ideas.
I could give him a list of things that would be fantastic.
Some of the stuff he was saying in this video is actually kind of horrifying. Like he said that one of his taglines it was a sexual innuendo that I won't repeat, and he would have little kids walk up to him who recognized him in public repeating this tagline to him. And he said, I failed this generation, which is true.
Yeah.
So
I think that this is a good wake-up call for him.
Yeah, he's one of many. And I hope that others follow in his footsteps, honestly, because clicks and like fame and money have completely superseded morality in our generation in the last 10 years.
It's now he can start preaching he can start delivering the word of God to other streamers like KSI and he joins streams as he evangelizes on stream with people.
The unfortunate fact is he's not going to make as much money doing this.
No, not
and
even
I was
close.
wondering, like, how is this guy?
A mega church.
How is this guy going to get a job after all that he's done?
I'm sure he's made more.
He saved
than
plenty of
Yeah.
money, but I mean, can he really live on that for the rest of his life?
He's gonna start his own mega church.
Maybe.
JiDion's mega church. It's gonna be
Like church merch?
Yeah.
Do church merch?
Look, I get sent down the mega church Instagram skit rabbit hole every now and again, which I adore because it's kind of like when the Babylon Bee does their memes about religion, which always feels so much more good natured than the memes that they do about just about anything else, which are a little bit more cutting, right? Because they're self-referential in a lot of ways, right? So, I mean, one of the things that the world could use, I mean, I'm not religious, but what the world needs, if you are religious, if you're looking to spread the word of God and find other people that are going to help a younger generation reach them, is you're going to need to find people who have been able to reach younger audiences before and proven themselves to be capable at connecting with people, right? So, maybe it's not the coolest of things to start a channel on, but there's, like Melanie Mack, who is a successful YouTuber who does comic book and geek culture and nerd culture stuff, also has a channel in which she reads the Bible.
Yeah.
Right? So people who are very dedicated to this.
Someone in the chat said Matthew 6:1-4. They said, be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. So is that what JiDion is guilty of now?
Uh-oh.
Is that he's performatively practicing righteousness and renouncing his ways? I think if he had a public platform to begin with where he used it for evil and he wants to apologize for it, there's nothing wrong with that.
What do they call it? What do they call it where you put where you take the like when you're leaving the mass and the holy water? Does that have a name?
When you do
holy
the
water.
But I'm saying, does the what it's in have a name? It's just in a.
Oh, I'm not
He's
sure.
gonna saran wrap
Font?
that so people.
The font?
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Okay, he's gonna saran wrap it so people like touch it, and it's gonna be great.
But isn't that, aren't you also supposed to kind of like spread the word as well?
Right.
You just aren't supposed to
I
expect
guess it's a
praise
thin
for
line.
doing it yourself.
It's a thin line if you have a platform like this. And then in Daddy Yankee's case, I'd never heard of this guy. I heard of Despacito, which was his song.
Yeah.
He said, tonight I recognize and am not ashamed to tell the whole world that Christ lives in me and that I will live for him. This is the end of one chapter and the beginning of a brand new one. He also quoted from the book of Matthew saying, for what good is it for a man to gain the whole world if he loses his life?
I mean, is that kind of a pretty common thing? Like you reach all this success, you have all the things in the world, but then you still feel a certain amount of emptiness that you don't know how to fill the void on. Does he have a wife and kids? I don't know if he's married. I don't know if he's got a family, but a lot of times, you know, all the money in the world. That's why so many celebrities who do well turn to drugs and alcohol, because they're looking to fill a void. They're just not filling a void with something that's actually going to help them or guide their life, right? People still feel empty in a lot of ways. We also have this video that you sent me about the goats.
Wait, which one?
The
You Won't Believe Me official?
Let's watch this here.
It's like,
Hold, please.
Yankee is from his song Gasolina. Well, he has officially given up reggaeton, and during his last concert, he announced that he gave his life to Jesus Christ. I will show you a clip of it translated into English, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I always thought it was really weird how he always had demented goats behind him during his concerts and all over his album covers and merch, but I'm glad he finally turned things around. Check this clip out.
Por mucho tiempo yo intenté llenar un vacío en mi vida que nadie pudo llenar. En ocasiones aparentaba estar bien feliz, pero faltaba algo para hacerme completo. Pude recorrer el mundo durante años, ganar muchos premios, aplausos y elogios, pero me di cuenta de algo que dice la Biblia. ¿De qué le vale al hombre ganar el mundo entero si pierde su alma? Por eso esta noche reconozco y no me avergüenzo en decirle al mundo entero que Jesús vive en mí y que yo viviré para él. Se acabó una historia y va a comenzar una nueva historia.
And he's gonna go by his real name now instead of his rapper name.
So yeah, I don't know. And for the people, we didn't want to translate and stop it as we were going through it, but he's essentially saying that he's realized that he has discovered that he needs to, he needs something more in his life. And he's giving his life over to God.
Be filled. And
well, next let's see Doja Cat do that.
That would be. That would be quite a turn.
Give
right?
it 10 years.
That would be quite a face turn for her. She becomes her own type of good guy right there. A lot of these celebrities could probably use a little something like that. Somebody earlier in the chat said the Christian grift. I was like, but they're going to make way less money. These are successful people that didn't need the Christian grift to make money. So I don't know if I buy that. I mean, maybe there are examples of people who do that, but I don't think that these two in particular are strong examples of that given their success.
And like most of the time you see celebrities with upside down crosses all over everything, and that's really the trend. So I don't see how that could be a grift.
Yeah.
And he mentioned this goat imagery that he would always put behind him on stage and on his merch. I just don't believe that when most celebrities adopt that imagery, it really is something that speaks to them or that they prefer. It's something that a group of people chose for them, for their brand. And we should analyze why they made that choice.
It is true, however, in the chat here, DCNC says being Christian is how pop stars be edgy these days. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like all the libertarian memes that are, it's like be an extremist and it's a picture of like a husband and wife and two kids on a farm.
I really liked Kat Von D's recent transformation.
Yeah.
She seems authentic in it.
Yeah.
I don't want to automatically assume nefarious intentions in someone.
I think
if anything, like you were saying, like with Daddy Yankee, having these demonic symbols in the background, maybe some celebrities are part of it, but I would say for the most part, maybe they're just kind of blissfully ignorant to the implications of it. And eventually they realize it and they're like, what have I been contributing to? And kind of get pushed and turn towards Jesus or Christianity.
Yeah. Yep. Well, what you could be pushed to is a better economy, which we're not going to get anytime soon. Who here? First of all, I'll ask you, Sarah. Do you have like a favorite Christmas movie?
I would say Home Alone is probably one of them.
Okay, perfect. That is fantastic because there was an article that showed up in Breitbart in a couple of other places. It says Home Alone fans are shocked by the 248% increase in grocery prices since the movie debuted as terrible. Bidenflation crushes family holiday budgets. This has to have been written by Nolte, but it wasn't. It was written by Alana Mastranello.
This is so funny because I recently rewatched Home Alone just the other day and saw him make the purchases at the grocery store all on his own and remarked on how expensive that would be today. And I saw Alex Clark tweet about this. So he went to the grocery store. He buys milk, bread, toilet paper, laundry detergent, fabric softener, cling wrap, macaroni and cheese, a turkey, TV dinner, orange juice, and a bag of plastic army men for $19.83. Last year, those items cost $44.40. And today, those same items cost $72.28 after tax.
It is fair
a
to point out,
248% increase.
were all of the people who did this experiment in Chicago where Kevin McAllister was living at the time?
I guess we'll have to come up with some new numbers then. But I saw also people remarking on like how he lives in this giant mansion with his family, and they can afford a huge family vacation to Paris.
Yep.
And to go back early
I think somebody pointed out that
on his dad's salary.
Yeah. Same with a Christmas vacation. They have like a ginormous house, and the dad, like the mom doesn't work. It's just on the
Or,
dad's
like,
salary.
cheaper by
It's
the
very
dozen.
middle class.
Thanks,
Yeah.
boomers, for ruining the housing market.
What the heck happened?
Somebody pointed out, I think somebody pointed out that the uncle of the family paid for the tickets for the vacation.
But he did not pay for the pizza that was delivered.
No.
They
Or the
actually,
house.
they got like a set of like 20 large pizzas delivered to them for $12 each. $12 for a large pizza is unheard of these days.
Well, now you get like the, what is it, like 2 for $5.90. Have you ever seen the meme? It says like, I ordered the 2 for $5.99 special. It's like 6, 12, total $32. And you're just like, huh? There's
like
all
shipping and handling.
Yeah, there's all these extra fees.
Delivery fee, tip.
And
Tax,
remember,
yeah.
the end of the real end times was when we saw that you could finance a pizza when you order it now. You can
Yeah.
pay.
Oh my
you can put
gosh.
payments down on pizzas that you order.
On Domino's.
On
of all
Domino's, which is
That's
just
wild.
really, really sad. Like, you know, like
things. What was his father doing?
his dad was
Is he a
I believe
lawyer?
he was a lawyer.
Okay.
He was probably representing criminals. You know, probably a lot of bad guys in that. Because I've been watching the Lethal Weapon TV show, which is way better than any show based on Lethal Weapon has any right to be, given that it has very little in common with the actual movies. Obviously, it doesn't have Danny Glover or Mel Gibson. It's Damon Wayans and Clayne Crawford, and they live in this massive house. And I'm like, he's a cop. But his wife is like a defense attorney, right? So that explains why they live in the big house, because the wife probably gets a lot of people off murder charges, and she represents guys. She probably represents Diddy being accused of Me Too crimes and stuff like that. So that's perfect, right? So I think for the whole one, the other part I love about it is he didn't double or triple bag, because the bags break when he's on the way home.
I almost cried at that part.
At that point, and you wonder how far away from the house he actually was.
He was such a cute kid, by the way.
He just got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Good
they posted these pictures where him and his mom from the movie came to see him at the premiere, and they like took a photo exactly like the one from when she sees him in the movie. And he just got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame like last week or something like that.
He also he aged well. Not all child actors age well.
Yeah.
They tend to look a little strange when they grow up.
I kind of disagree. I think he aged kind of weirdly.
Other people were saying
not
that too. They
as
were saying that he
badly.
didn't age very well. I have no. I mean, I think him and all his. I think his brother. I don't know if Kieran is his brother or his cousin, but
His brother.
Kieran does much better at dark and broody because of the hair.
yeah.
True.
He kind of creeps me out.
He's supposed to. I mean, he's literally supposed to. Like the first thing that I ever saw
Shadow
him in
Macaulay.
was Scream 4.
I've only seen him
yeah, I
in
think that's-
Succession.
He was in Scream 4, and he plays a character he's basically like, he's supposed to be evil Randy. And he's got the creepy vibes because he's got the sunken eyes and the long hair. That's actually a really interesting one. This is a little bit of an aside. Go back and watch Scream 4, which is extremely prophetic, because the point of the movie is that they're killing people because they want to be internet famous. And it's at a weird time in technology where like phones, they weren't recording everything on a phone. They were recording it on like little cameras and stuff like that, because like the iPhone 4 had probably just come out in like 2011 or something like that. It was at this really in between time for technology, but the message of it is extremely prominent today, which is like people will do obscene things for fame, right? I do recommend people go check that out and go watch Home Alone. I do still prefer I know a lot of people prefer 2 to 1, but I still prefer the first one.
They're not going to make any Christmas movie or any movie in general like it.
Nope.
For the rest of eternity. Like, I know they tried to do something similar with Violent Night with that little girl who did she did similar stunts in that movie, but it just didn't hit the same.
Also, I forgot I should have brought this up. So the Plaza Hotel, which is where it takes place in the second one, has a Home Alone 2 Fun in New York thing where you can have the Home Alone experience.
What?
You know, the pizza in the limo. So this is something you can actually go do.
It better cost $19.
Staying at the Plaza Hotel without recreating some popular Home Alone moments. That's something. Then they basically talk about the things you can do. It says 4-hour private limousine trip around New York City. You'll drive by several Home Alone 2 filming locations like Rockefeller Center, the Empire State Building, Central Park. So just regular. Large cheese pizza, which is what he had in the car. I'd better have a Coca-Cola in a champagne glass.
I'm going to rewatch that one.
You should. And it's great. That's something to do.
How much is it? Is it 90s prices or Bidenflation prices?
Bidenflation prices, I'm sure. It says you have to book the package at least 3 days before you check in. You can only book the package directly with the Plaza and not through a third-party reservation. So I bet you it's probably very expensive.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford it.
We got a $20 one from DC&C. First time I watched Home Alone, it was hard to identify with Kevin McAllister because he insisted on ordering a cheese pizza. Who the hell orders a pizza with just cheese?
A child.
Yeah.
Kids love cheese pizza.
An 8-year-old.
Yeah, literally.
He's but a young
And
one.
maybe Brett.
No, I no, because I get pepperoni and green olive on my pizzas, so I don't eat. But I will eat.
Start this olive debate again.
I will eat cheese pizza if it's there.
What about sardines on pizza?
I like that.
What the hell?
It's good.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here with that shit. Okay, let's move on. So remember the other day when we talked about George Santos?
Yes.
He's not happy.
Our
icon, George Santos. Well, he's taking legal action over HBO. Do you know who George Santos is?
I've heard the name.
Okay.
Well, he's the Republican congressman from Long Island who just got expelled from Congress for various federal charges that he's facing. And now he is going to make his money on Cameo. He has $200 videos available on Cameo. We can watch some of them here.
Dude, they're so good. Let's watch these.
You just can't help but like this guy.
What are his federal crimes? Do we have time to go through them?
Well, he made so he made an LLC that got a bunch of donor money poured into it, and then he used the money for his own personal expenses on Botox,
OnlyFans accounts.
Botox, OnlyFans, designer clothes, things like this.
Will the George Santos OnlyFans list ever leak? Like Epstein's
before the
Epstein I want to know who he was.
Trisha Paytas.
Let's listen to his videos here.
Megan, how are you, darling? I hear that you're getting some tough heat in the press and that life might be a little rocky now. Let me tell you something. If you believe in what you stand for and if you fight for what you do and you stand by those convictions, screw the haters. The haters are going to hate. Look, they can boot me out of Congress, but they can't take away my good humor or my larger-than-life personality, nor my good faith and the absolute pride I have for everything I've done. So this is about you, Megan. Be yourself unapologetically. Just love yourself. Just make sure that you don't buy into the hate and stand your ground and don't let them force you out. Don't let them bully you. You do you, girl. I'm cheering for you. Mwah.
In the chat, somebody says he seems fabulous. Well, the name of the actual movie is called The Fabulist.
They're making a movie about him, which is why he's intending to take legal action against HBO. And he said,
"It really is the emoji with the fingernails."
Yes, he's literally the fingernail painting emoji. So he says this movie is defamatory and misappropriating his name and likeness, although he hasn't seen it yet and it hasn't been made yet. He said he has zero involvement in the fictitious story. And he said F them and their chicken beep deal with no inside information or reality of facts. And it's true, he did not cooperate with the author of this book that they're using to make the movie. But they interviewed a lot of his family, his friends, even his elementary school teachers. Like pretty much everyone George Santos has ever interacted with in his life has contributed something to that book. So it must have some seed of truth in it.
Yeah.
Regardless.
If he needs a fallback career, he would be the perfect SoulCycle instructor.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't you just see him?
Well, I'm really
Peloton.
hoping. I want Trump Santos 2024,
Let's
baby.
go.
Would you not love that?
Strictly for the memes, I would be there for it. It would be
Name a more
fantastic.
iconic duo. I'll wait.
It's good. It's good. So you guys can go ahead and do that. There's one more story that's crazy. So it feels like a lifetime ago, but if you remember, guys, Good Morning America's hosts, TJ Holmes and Amy Robach. Is it Robach or Robach or
Robach.
They cheated on their spouses together. They were put on administrative leave by Good Morning America. But all's well that ends well, ladies and gentlemen, because now the two people that got cheated on by them are now together in a relationship.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why?
Why? Hasn't anyone heard of chaos theory?
So this is.
Do they just bond over talking shit about their ex spouses now?
Oh, that's so cringe.
And that's what their whole relationship is based on?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that they should have been fired in the first place, and I think it was just because they were straight, honestly. If two gay hosts of Good Morning America had an affair with each other, it would actually be celebrated.
So it was Andrew Shue of Melrose Place and Marilee Fiebig. She was a lawyer. She's an attorney, right? And they're now together. Now, here's the thing, though. The real outcome, the real outcome you want here is where the Amy Robach and TJ Holmes break up, and these two get married and stay together forever. So as a way of it's karma.
The pair bonded after their spouse's alleged affair, and it turned into something else, and they're connected over their values. And Robach previously told People that the four of them had gone on double dates many times before and babysat for each other's children.
Wow. Oh, trust no one. Yeah.
That's so weird. Ugh.
So they're gonna now be the step parents of each other's kids?
I'm sure that this happens all the time, actually.
Oh, probably.
Like I've heard other instances of this happening with like two divorced couples. They essentially do a wife swap.
Yeah.
It's so odd. I don't know. It gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they're gonna stay together, and TJ and Amy are gonna break up.
So they're still together.
That will be real justice served.
Yes, it would be. It
if they're even still together at all.
So
who knows?
Do you feel like they feel like they have to stay together now?
Yeah.
Now they're
you gave up your job and your whole life.
No, both couples are together now, and they want to break up, but they don't want to be the one that breaks up before the other couple first. So,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Now there's a competition.
Now
they hate each other, but they have to stay together.
Yeah.
Maybe this is like polyamory propaganda.
There you go. There you go. Could be. All right. What would you ladies like to see, cute or cringe of the day?
After this, I think I need a cute.
Okay. Cute of the day first. Cool. I've got a bunch here. So, guys, if you have cute of the day that you want to submit, please tag me and popculture_show on Twix, and also tag at PCC or hashtag PCC Pets, hashtag cute of the day. That way I can see it. This first one here from Eve on Twix says, got a new dog, Peach. She is afraid of Comet the cat, even though he really wants to be friends.
Aww.
That's the smallest dog I've ever seen.
It's usually the other way around.
Oh, it's a puppy. Aw.
Oh, puppies are the best.
Very cute. Very cute.
It's like the size of the stuffed animal.
Yep.
Literally is.
The cat is looking very like...
Comet is cautious, but friendly.
Let's do one more here. We got this one here from Matt G. Says, Aria was the best girl and loved sunbathing. Her sister Gracie, the Frenchie, is a sweetie when she wants to be, and really dislikes when you stop petting her.
Aww. Oh my gosh.
Cute.
That picture is amazing. I love that photo.
So happy.
So happy.
Is that an avocado back there?
Where?
On the wall.
Painting?
Or am I just seeing
I think you're
things?
just seeing things. All right.
Big
let's go on.
avocados at it again.
We've got a couple of cringes here. The first one here is, I found this from Ethan Van Sciver. It literally says cringe of the day. It says, remember fellas, simping never pays off. Her mod drove all the way up to the convention to show support and she ignored him. Learn some respect for yourself, fellas.
What is
My
this?
Comic-Con one. My Comic-Con.
Is that
I'm
Amaranth?
very
Yes.
surprised that it fit perfectly in the dimensions because I just like eyeballed it. I was like,
nailed it.
nailed it.
No.
Wait. Why? That was a fan?
It's a mod on her channel.
Aww.
Poor bastard.
So that's the bottom of it. Social media, Catwoman.
Most of the people that are worshipped out there are the worst human beings.
See, that was intentional. She saw the high five.
Yeah.
And then they like later went and redid, like, because she got backlash from it, they like did like a fake version where she reaches for a high five and he doesn't give it to her and walks away to like make up for the fact that people were pissed. But
That was very nice
So
of him to do that for her.
Ugh, remember when she was like, "Oh, my husband is abusive. He's making me do OnlyFans," and then just continued doing OnlyFans.
it's oh boy. Anyways, now that I've given you guys all of
Yikes.
the cringe of the day, let's save the other one for tomorrow. We'll go ahead and we'll get started here. Now that we are we're 47 minutes into the show, ladies and gentlemen. What if I told you that Taylor Swift now has something in common with Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Adolf Hitler, and Greta Thunberg? Well, it's true, ladies and gentlemen, because this year she has been named Time Magazine's Person of the Year.
Wow.
Hitler receiving that back in 1938. There was also Elon Musk is on this list. It is fair to point out that Donald Trump won in 2016, right?
Zelensky was last year's. I understand that it's not an endorsement of the Person of the Year, right? It's just a story about their impact. But the short list of people who almost won is pathetic.
Well, first let's. I looked at I was like, what are the criteria based on Time Magazine? Like, you have to have criteria. It's not based on stats of any sort. It says Time Magazine features a person, a group, or idea or object that, for better or worse, has done the most influence. Has had the most influence on the events of the year. And this year, I mean, I think one of the things that happens in these situations is you start to realize that everybody's in their own kind of, maybe not echo chambers, but you're existing in your own sphere of influence, your own sphere of news. And who is somebody that has penetrated every veil for everyone's world? Taylor Swift, who she invaded the world of politics by posting about, go out and vote. And that made a big, what did I say earlier? Hullabaloo.
And rumors that she'll run in 2024 as
so
well.
not just that, she influenced sports by getting involved with Travis Kelce.
Yep.
Not just music, she became a billionaire in this economy. Are you kidding me? Right? I don't actually believe that it's hard to imagine that she would be what you consider the Person of the Year based on this criteria.
So I see this Jack Posobiec tweet. The Taylor Swift girl boss Psyop has been fully activated. From her hand-selected vaccine shill boyfriend to her dink lifestyle, dual income, no kids, to her upcoming 2024 voter operation for Democrats on abortion rights, it's all coming.
And what's funny is just yesterday, Malcolm Flex on Twitter did a video post where he talked about how he's like, I'm genuinely worried about Taylor Swift in the upcoming election because she's going to have a lot of sway. Mm-hmm. But every time we bring this up, every time we talk about this, we're told it's stupid, it's not worth talking about, it's not important. She registered like 38,000 people to vote with a single tweet. She is something that, for better or worse, you have to worry about if you're a conservative. I'm not a conservative, but when you look at it, she will then get people to coalesce around that, what I'm going to start calling like Taylor Swift liberalism, which is like basically Taylor Swift feminism, right? Like, she coalesces and brings people together under that banner who will all be low info voters who will go out and vote because she said so. You do have to worry about it. You do.
Yeah. And I think it's fair to put her on the cover this year. I mean, it's just the person that you couldn't escape hearing about or talking about. And it seems like everyone has an opinion, even if it's a negative one. But the people who were in the running were Hollywood strikers, lame, Xi Jinping, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, the Trump prosecutors, Barbie herself, the fictional character, and Putin, King Charles, and Jerome Powell.
Who is the chairman of the Federal Reserve, and libertarians everywhere are screaming.
Yeah.
And the Fed.
I will say that there was a touch of virtue signaling bullshit in the cover story that I unfortunately read the whole thing. So she feels like this has been like a year for the girls in 3 different ways. So there is her tour, the Barbie movie, and Beyonce's tour all happening at the same time.
I mean, the Beyonce movie didn't make all that much money.
Well, the Beyonce tour itself did.
Or the movie
and she's talking about how they've been pitted against each other. But she says, if we have to speak stereotypically about the feminine and the masculine, women have been fed the message that what we naturally gravitate toward, girlhood, feelings, love, breakups, analyzing our feelings, talking about them nonstop, glitter, sequins, we've been taught that those things are more frivolous than the things stereotypically gendered men gravitate toward, right? And what has existed since the dawn of time? A patriarchal society. What fuels a patriarchal society? Money, flow of revenue, the economy. So actually, if we're going to look at this in the most cynical way possible, feminine ideas becoming lucrative means that more female art will get made. It's extremely heartening.
She is based solely on her boon for the economy alone. She probably ranks up there as somebody who was a net positive for every economy every economic sector that she entered. As she went from town to town, people were talking about how she became a huge, like every time she would go to restaurants, people would like post fake sightings of her at their restaurant to try to get people to come out and go to their restaurants and gather around, right?
Yeah.
So,
but she's also crafted like such a good victim narrative as well.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Despite the fact that she's always been riding high in her career and wasn't actually canceled, she claims that she was canceled beyond belief. Like no one has been before because of Kanye and Kim Kardashian. And here's what she said about that.
Nobody actually believed.
Of course not. So she says like the 2 things that led to her having this resurgence later in her career was the Kanye thing and her music getting bought out by Scooter Braun, who she believes hates her. So here's what she said about Kanye. You have a fully manufactured frame job in an illegally recorded phone call, which Kim Kardashian edited and then put out to say to everyone that I was a liar. That took me down psychologically to a place I've never been before. I moved to a foreign country. I didn't leave a rental house for a year. I was afraid to get phone calls. I pushed away most people in my life because I didn't trust anyone anymore. I went down really hard. Yeah. And it's true that Kanye at the Grammys was like a 9/11 for Swifties. It's like a Swiftie history book. Yeah. That was their 9/11. And I don't know, like it just didn't seem like that actually impacted her career as much as she claims it did. And her music getting bought out by Scooter Braun in that backdoor deal didn't impact her career because now she's making more money off of re-recording her albums.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No matter how successful she is, she's always a victim. And that's why I don't like her personally. Some of her songs I will listen to, but I read most of the article too, and at one point she says, I've been raised up and down the flagpole of public opinion so many times in the last 20 years. And I don't quite know what she's referring to.
It's not true.
It only works, and I think one of the reasons why the industry is going this way is it only works for women and members of what they consider underrepresented classes. Beyonce had a quote at the beginning of the trailer for her movie that says, it's so hard to be not just a woman, but a black woman in the music industry. I was like, your dad was a rich music executive who made you who helped make you famous. You were the breakout star of
Since she was a child,
of your
too.
of your band, right? Like, but that doesn't matter because the average person doesn't know that. So it just sounds good when you plaster it at the front of a movie trailer. Doesn't matter.
Have you guys seen the South Park episode with where they talk about branding? And it's like influencer, sorority girl, victim. Like at the end of everybody's brand, there has to be the word victim.
Yeah.
There was I was watching this old, it's like an infographic it's made meme where this woman who says that she's an African-American fitness influencer who's in Greece and she's posting a picture in the gym. She says, there's no other black people in the gym with me other than a person working. And they're like, you're in Greece. There's exactly 1% population or something like that. But that doesn't matter because the victimhood points of making that statement, of that divisive statement, are too beneficial.
Well, it's funny because the author of this article even questioned her narrative that she's spinning here in his head, but didn't say it out loud to her, didn't have the gall to question her out loud. He said, I think, who am I to challenge it if that's how she felt? The point is she felt canceled. She felt as if her career had been taken away from her. Something in her had been lost and she was grieving it. Maybe this is the real Taylor Swift effects. She gives people, many of them women, particularly girls, who have been conditioned to accept dismissal, gaslighting, and mistreatment from a society that treats their emotions as inconsequential, permission to believe that their interior lives matter.
Society spends literally all of its time tiptoeing on eggshells around the feelings of women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every
This
single
is the long
day,
house.
365 days a year. We have a $20 super chat here from Crispy Lake Transport LLC. Says, Kanye put her on the map because I never heard of her until that stunt.
At the Grammys or when he made that lyric about her, that he made that bitch famous?
Probably at the Grammys.
At the Grammys? Well, I mean, when she was at the Grammys, she was relatively new.
She would have, I think, disappeared after that song. She would have, just like every other artist, like they get 1 or 2 Grammys and then the next person pops up like in the machine.
Well, that's kind of what she referred to here, is that she like defied the process that's usually used in the music industry, where they find a bunch of teenagers, throw them into the fire, and then once they can't withstand the pressure, they get a new crop of them to replace it.
I see.
So now that she's 33 and at the peak of her career, and maybe this isn't even the peak, maybe she'll have even more success, she feels like she defied all those odds.
I do want to show some of these slides from Linda from Mostly Peaceful Latinas. She had an interesting observation of what happened here. So this is what she said. She said, sorry, Swifties, but this is just the plan to get women to vote for Democrats. We saw this from a mile away. Not a hater comment, since we have to clarify around here. Meanwhile, conservative influencers push the, quote, women shouldn't vote idea less than a year away from elections. Again, this is why you lose. Right? Because they're all going to coalesce around her, and the rest in the Republicans or the conservatives and what Linda always criticizes, or the manosphere, are the ones saying that women shouldn't vote.
Got one from Pat the Plumber. Next story, let's go.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there, buddy.
Since you paid for it.
Yeah.
If we don't talk about her and ignore her, she'll go away, right?
No. This one says, once you see it, you can't unsee it. They will target millennial women, and the gender war will only escalate. This is symbolic of the target demographic that the right hates and the left embraces, women that will die alone with their cats.
That cover of her with her cat around her shoulders really is.
And then here's one where she points it out. She says, in less than an hour, I am proven right about the symbolism of this picture and who it will trigger and target. It's so easy to trigger the right. Says it's shameful and sad that a hyper-promiscuous, childless woman aging in alone with a cat has become the heroine of a feminist age. You could very easily, if I was to be some type of devil's advocate here, you could say successful businesswoman, entrepreneur, somebody who's managed to become, like, don't they also value people who manage to use the free market and succeed, right? Like, depending on what side you support, anyone can push a narrative on any of these things and make it about whatever they believe to be true. There was also the one that you sent me about the person who said that no one should be a billionaire.
Oh, yeah. I saw a bunch of Swifties arguing about whether it's ethical for Taylor Swift to be a billionaire. As they say, no one should be a billionaire, and does she use it for good or for evil? Yeah. And they're saying, well, I mean, if she's doing it because she's self-made and she's just selling a product that people want, what's wrong with that? But then there were a bunch of replies from people who are playing devil's advocate that still are fans of hers that say, well, look at her impact on the environment from her private jets, for instance, or the fact that she uses sweatshops to make her merchandise. There's always something that you could charge her with, right?
Somebody says, so Amda says, all I know is no one accumulates that much wealth without turning a blind eye to poor labor practices or other unfair treatments of people in their supply chain. She gave $100,000 bonus to everyone on her tour.
That's true. What? Yeah. Thank you.
$100,000 to all of them.
Even like the roadies.
The truck drivers got $100,000. All the main people on the tour, right, got $100,000. It totaled several $million.
Wow.
Right? This person also says, when they say it's time to eat the rich, she will be a part of that. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's never gonna happen, bro. But keep dreaming.
Whether you like it or not, the cat lady, the boxed wine cat lady, is a voting block that the left will always take advantage of, and the right will always admonish and put down.
And not to get conspiratorial, but it feels like they've been ramping her up these last couple of years, right up into giving her Person of the Year in 2023, right before the election year.
Yeah.
So she's more influential than ever right now.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think that it's Phil reposted this and said well deserved, and people were pissed at him. And it's like, look, who has reached further lengths of society this year? I can't think of anybody else who's made a bigger impact on society this year. You could have made the argument that perhaps if what happened in Israel had happened earlier in the year, we might be looking at something different, given that that's been going on and very big in American culture, despite the fact that it's happening thousands of miles away. Right. But perhaps next year it will be something like that. It is hilarious to me because before I realized that Trump was there from 2016. I was like, so he's going for Taiwan, and Putin took Crimea and all these places. All you need to do is be a dictator who's going after something that doesn't belong to you, and Time Magazine's willing to put you on the map for something like that.
It almost feels wrong that Zelensky got it and then they didn't give it to Putin. It's unfair. Yeah, it's a little unfair.
Like I can't. Can you think of anybody else who wasn't on this list that you would have put on this list? I saw somebody in the comments make a joke earlier about Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
But
I don't want to see his face on the cover.
Did the Enron guys get it when that happened? Did OJ get it?
Jordan Belfort.
Did Jordan Belfort get it? I don't know, but it is true that it does have more to do with whether you impacted society, not whether or not that impact was good.
I kind of like.
It's very neutral.
Yeah, it pretends to be neutral at least.
I mean, but they gave it to Trump in 2016, and they hate Trump. They wouldn't want to give that to anyone, right?
True.
And they point out that Hitler won it in 1938, so a lot of people use that as this own. But
that's
to them,
people liked Hitler.
To them, they see the people who voted for Taylor Swift. The people at Time Magazine see Trump the same way they see Hitler. So it doesn't matter. It's all the same. So. All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Andrew Jacobs said, thoughts on AI avatars replacing live musicians?
It's horrible. I mean, for live, that's dumb. Did anybody watch that Metaverse Biggie Smalls concert when they had it?
No.
Yeah, there was a Metaverse Notorious B.I.G. concert.
I think that's horrible if you don't even get the consent of the person who's being portrayed.
Right.
Well, I mean, once you're that famous, then you're no longer a person.
It's not
you're a product.
In your control anymore.
It would be it would be the people who own the rights to all your music. It's basically your camp.
Right. I remember a long time ago at Coachella, they had a 3D hologram of Tupac.
Yep, that was a
this
very
was
big
at
deal
least like 10 years ago, right? And people loved it. They went crazy for it.
Yep. I mean, that was also at a different time when we didn't know how serious all this stuff would get.
Well, it's
right?
also more so curiosity about the technology at that time.
Yeah.
Now that it's been out for a while, I think it's going to lose its appeal.
Yeah, at the time, some people were like, dude, did he come back from Cuba? Or
this is why I'm not afraid of AI. I think that the people who have an interest in making you think the singularity is coming are just really good at convincing you of that, but I
think it will become more prevalent the more new generations are introduced to it earlier in life, and it will become more of an everyday part of your life. Like I said, there's a vast number of influencers there's that guy, that story recently about this model who's making millions of dollars on brand deals, and it was made by this guy who just got sick of working with models. He got sick of having, he's like, they're always late, they're whiny, so he just made his own AI model and is now taking all the money. So it's like eventually new generations, they have causes, they donate to charities, they have activist causes for these. And to younger generations, they will look at those celebrities, those AI celebrities, the same way that most of us looked at regular celebrities, because you're never going to see these people in the real world anyways.
Right.
Like, as long as you're not going to a concert by them, maybe someday you will end up going to some virtual concert where you go sit inside a concert hall and watch the screen. People did that for the Gorillaz.
Yeah, and people are already obsessed with like animated characters and anime and all the stuff that Elon Musk is into, that Amber Heard dresses up for him. So people are already like, you know.
I never understood the appeal of the Gorillaz. Like what?
Yeah.
Dustin,
it's because they're fake.
Dustin,
that's why we like
it. What is it? Like, do they dress up in like gorilla suits? What is a gorilla concert like?
Well, yeah, they're just in gorilla suits.
It's digital. So, in the
digital?
chat,
they're fake.
Dustin says, we need Patriot AI. It's like Patriot water, Patriot dirt.
Anyway, Shane H. Wilder said, happy feast of St. Nicholas. Mary, check out the Catholic Talk Show from Monday. They did an episode on him that was really good. Brett, I hope what we talked about last night works for your needs.
Yes.
What is this?
Okay, so could somebody get me the video of Ian doing punk rock on IRL from, I believe it was last Friday. I think it was him. I didn't see it. So he was singing or something. I don't know. I want to see it because I'm looking to make a new Crisis party.
Yeah,
So if somebody could provide me with that. Ian was doing a punk rock.
Serenko Productions said daily Taylor Swift is the Antichrist message. Also, hi, Brett and Mary and Coffee Lady Sarah.
Hey.
Hello. Let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back after the fact. Mary, why don't you tell everyone about this absolutely insane dating app?
Yeah. Well, the Disney adults are a group of millennials that we often poke fun at on this show, and I do maintain that they deserve the mockery. And yesterday we discovered something that is peak cringe. It is a dating site that is catered to Disney adults who want to meet other Disney fanatics and possibly get married. It's called Meet Upon Main. And the question is this romantic or dystopian? And I made an account on the website last night when Brett brought it to my attention because the curiosity just got the best of me, and it's as horrifying as you might imagine. If you feel like you want to get on the website and check it out for yourself, do so at your own risk. We're not going to do that on the show today. But let's look at this advertisement for it that a couple of Disney adults made. They claim that they met on Meet Upon Main and got married.
Here we go. Let's watch this, guys.
Video on your For You page and you're like, what must I have been watching that the algorithm thinks that I want to see this? This is that video. At first I thought this was a joke. I thought it was a parody about Disney adults. Not the case at all. This is a real advertisement for a dating site for Disney adults, and let me tell you, some goofy's going on here. She's trying to open him up to a whole new world. She's trying to take a trip around Epcot, if you know what I'm saying. Watch this and tell me that this is not the case.
So my husband and I met online, just like a lot of people do nowadays, but our story is a little different. It all started on the site Meet Upon Main.
And here's the adorable part. She was Disney bounding as Ariel in her profile pic, and I was Eric.
A match made in heaven. Or at least the Magic Kingdom, which is the same thing to us.
And guess what? We still use Meet Upon Main to make friends with other Disney nerds just like us.
In fact, tomorrow, we're meeting up in person with our new Star Wars friends at Batuu.
And it all started with our shared love for Disney. So make your profile at meetuponmain.com today.
You never know who you'll meet.
Yeah.
Okay,
You never know who you can see a
I got
beard
a question
for.
off the bat. She says she met her husband.
Yes.
The site is new.
I don't know how new it is.
I think the site is fairly new.
But I mean, that's what they say. And the way
When
that
you
was
know, Brett.
delivering the lines, she's not an actress, so maybe this was unintentional, but it felt like there was some sort of sexual suggestiveness And people think that Meet Upon Main is actually just a swingers club for Disney adults, and that's horrifying to think about.
Yeah, everybody in the
Someone
chat says
commented
they
she's
swing
swinging
them.
harder than Tarzan. Oh, and this person, I wanted to mention this. They said, as long as they're happy, who cares? I'm tired of people raining on other people's parades, Disney or not. If they're happy and they aren't hurting anybody, what's it to you?
Okay, not super new. I
say let them.
I found
put
an
them all
article
in one app.
I found an article from 2022, so it's at least a year old.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is an abomination. I fully am willing to mock people for using this website, and it seems sus. Like they're kind of suggesting that they're 100% swingers who meet other swingers at
the
Disney.
wives are swingers,
which used to be a
/
theme
beards.
park for children. Okay. So I went to the website. It says, this is where your magic begins. At Meet Upon Main, we're creating a network where Disney fans make magical connections. Whether you're looking for love or a park buddy, we're committed to creating a space for all Disney fans to connect. And
Park buddy.
They say they have a good cause behind it. They donate a portion of every membership fee. People actually pay to be on this website, by the way, to allow children with terminal illness to enjoy the theme parks. So
Ricky
screw
Gervais-
you, Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais would be
They're
appalled.
making their wish come true.
Yes.
So I guess this is for friends too. I feel like I want to catfish someone on this website and have them. I'll be like, meet up with me at
Epcot.
At Epcot at 2 p.m. And then see if they actually show up.
Tell them to dress
Just
up as
ghost
Eric.
them. Yeah.
Look for the Ariel.
So it says it's a new dating social network site for Star Wars, Disney, and Marvel fans across the USA. Meet your next theme park buddy or build something more serious. So, I mean, if there's at least one success story, we know it's a real thing. It's not satire, folks.
We did look at a bunch of the people on it. I'll say this.
Yeah, I'm
like,
curious.
The men, I know I don't want to sit in judgment, but maybe don't take pictures with the Mickey Mouse ears on.
All of them.
great
Okay, I won't say
advice.
all of the men. A good like half of the men that I saw on the website look predatory. And then most of the women just look desperate. It's weird. There were more women profiles on this website than men.
And most of them looked firmly like, if you can imagine in your head, if you asked ChatGPT and you said, will you please make me a mid-level manager in an HR department? It's exactly what
And
most
there
of
has
them
been
look like.
a big trending discussion about dinks on Twitter recently, and these are Disney dinks. They're the dual income, no kids portion of the population.
Okay.
So married couples or maybe non-married couples that choose not to have kids and use their dual income to consume products because that is the only hobby they have. Like, think of all the free time you have when you don't have kids. Let's use that to just consume media and eat food instead of doing something notable with our lives.
Yeah.
And then
feels fulfilling.
dunk on people who do have kids as if we have it better. I don't like the trend, and they're getting trashed right now, as they should. But this is just another brand of dinks. People who spend $7 on coffee and
I'm kind of dying to see some of these profiles.
Maybe the idea should be like looking to leave dink status. That can be something you can put there. Like that's like
Let's
their
have
thing
kids
for looking for kids
that we can then take to Disneyland.
Yeah, which would make it more socially acceptable. I'm. When we were looking through this yesterday, like, look, guys, this is, I think Mary pointed out to me not that long ago that there are more men on dating apps than women anyway. So,
yeah,
gents, maybe what you need to do right now is go and sign up for this website, and your chances,
your odds will be better.
Your odds have gone up.
If you're okay with dating a woman who is obsessed with Disney and Star Wars and Marvel, then you'll just have to make that trade-off.
Yeah, and I mean, you made a comparison yesterday to Christian Mingle, right? There are dating apps for all sorts of different subcategories, different hobbies, different lifestyles.
Yeah.
Okay, but The reason why dating apps for certain religions exist is because you actually want to find a spouse that aligns with you on your core values and your moral convictions. At least that's the premise of it. A Disney adult dating app is you trying to find a spouse based on having the same consumer habits, based on liking the same products,
Right.
consuming the same media, which is so superficial and vapid. Yeah. It's not like based on anything that you align on that goes deeper than that.
Was there a certain age range you noticed on the app?
Oh, yeah.
It was like predominantly
it was all,
millennial.
It was
age?
predominantly people in their 30s. I did see some on the older end or younger end. I did see a lot of catfish profiles that, I mean, I just don't believe an actual hot person would be on a Disney dating app. I'm sorry.
There was a bunch that I was like, fake.
Yeah, there were fake
It's too hot, no.
profiles. So it was mostly these millennials who are not getting married and they just prioritize being a consumer over having a real hobby.
Which means I want somebody to make the Warner Brothers dating app where you just talk about how much you love
Not gonna
David
happen.
Zaslav and you're a huge fan of Looney Tunes and you really, and here's the thing. You could actually do this because there are just as many unbelievably dedicated Harry Potter fans as there could absolutely be a Harry Potter adult dating app. I guarantee it. Somebody would make that.
That would somehow be even worse.
Yeah.
Here's some more comments. I think she's just terrible at reading her lines convincingly and it's coming off as overly sexual and weird. Another said, Disney has a not so underground swingers scene now. Disturbing. Another said twin flames, but make it Disney. Another said, I didn't know there were straight male Disney adults. Neat. There are straight male Disney adults. Yeah.
Are there?
I think they underestimate the importance of nostalgia to millennial culture, right? Just how important nostalgia was to millennials in a lot of ways, and they've identified with it severely. The other thing that we were talking, so Disney adults, the Taylor Swift fans, they have a lot in common with a lot of the people that have strong fandoms, right? And strong fandoms kind of come together around a common, not a common cause, but a common thing that they like. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's just that I don't know if what the success rate is going to be on a website like this. Also, the other thing I think you showed, Mary, was that it would show you if you had ever matched with anyone.
It showed you the number of matches someone has. Let me tell you, there were mostly zero matches.
See, why do you want to go on there just to get humiliated like that? That's like, why would anyone put that on any type of dating app?
Yeah, it's weird. I also on the website saw this quote from Walt Disney. I don't know if he actually said this, but I'm corny, but I think there's just about 140 million people in this country that are just as corny as I am. So there you have it.
He's right.
Maybe he would support this.
Is that the tagline for the app?
There's a reason.
Find your magical match. Yeah.
There's a reason why art works that way, right? It's because when something affects someone emotionally, and you kind of let your guard down and let people see that you like it, these people have no problem with that, right? They don't feel guarded about the fact that they feel some type of way about Disney stuff. And if you go on any of these social media apps, especially TikTok and Instagram, you'll see whole channels dedicated, just like on the critique side of YouTube. There's whole channels dedicated to critiquing YouTube. There's whole channels dedicated to to critiquing Disney. There's channels dedicated to loving Disney.
This could open up a whole bunch of doors for niche dating apps. Taylor Swift dating app.
I wouldn't be
YouTube
surprised.
dating app.
The Taylor Swift dating app would be like heaven for single guys. Because they can just pretend to love Taylor Swift. How do you test them on their knowledge?
20 years later, they have a nervous breakdown.
No,
actually, I can't listen to
no,
Taylor Swift anymore.
They would be able to, because there's so much lore behind Taylor Swift that they would be able to trip them up easily with all the Easter eggs. They're like, oh, you didn't get that reference from this obscure song and this obscure album and this obscure hand reference?
Yeah, someone did comment, not sure what's worse, Disney adults or Taylor Swift cult members. It is a cult.
Yeah.
Another said, looks like someone is looking for a second lightsaber in Batu. Oof. Yeah.
I love it.
Another said, two people having similar taste enjoying time together. People watch other men kick balls around and cry about it because they're wearing specific colors and themes while doing it. That's cringe.
Yeah.
Another sports ball denigration. Well, you shouldn't date people based on the sports teams they like either.
Well, technically
that's also
that-
a stupid reason to choose a
That
partner.
usually happens by default because you live in the same state.
Yeah.
So it's not actually and that actually causes problems in some relationships. Maybe not like overt problems, but like
What do you guys think of e-dating in general? People who find spouses on social media or Twitter.
I mean, I've heard of it.
It's more common now.
Yeah.
Than, like we live in an age. Like I said, I was watching Lethal Weapon, the show, and there's a whole storyline where his son has this issue with like he's like nobody asks people out in person anymore. Like that's not a thing. And then eventually he overcomes his fear. So the point in the story is that it still does happen. But the idea here is that nowadays, as we live more and more of our lives online, like, is it really all that strange to think that people are going to meet that way? I don't think it is. Like I said, my first long-term girlfriend I met on MySpace. MySpace.
That's beautiful, bro.
Back in the day.
It's not nearly as bad if you met her on the Disney app.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. So,
and I do have married friends that met through social media.
Yeah. Yeah, it's become increasingly more common. I know people who are married and have kids that met on dating apps.
I mean, are we gonna have to get some cringy like the Breitbart dating app or like?
Well, there are right-wing dating apps. They already exist. Yeah.
Like, I guess I get the market for something like that because they get filtered out of these dating apps by political preference so easily.
Can you do that?
I mean, some of these dating apps I think had like they'll put in their profile if you're a Republican or a Trumper.
Yeah, but
like,
I don't think you can filter
swipe.
people out if they're a Republican.
Yeah.
The really sinister thing about political affiliations on dating apps is that people will just lie. Mainly men will just lie about their political affiliation.
I loved Obama.
If he puts moderate, he's definitely a conservative who's lying about it. And if he puts Democrat, he might also be lying about it and he's just a moderate in reality, just to get more matches.
Wait, would that make
I think that's poor practice.
Would that make her a woman who puts Republican when she's actually Democrat the ultimate pick-me in like the most pick-me in human history?
I don't know if there are any guys who would swipe left on a hot chick just because she's Republican. Like, I don't think that guys care about that.
I think women care
because we all know that women's political opinions are pointless.
And most men would take it as a challenge and find her to be malleable anyways, that they would try to bend.
Yeah, red pill her.
Yeah.
It was like that.
So it's this whole I don't find online dating to be something that's by and large, I think most people today find the idea of meeting someone in person stranger than meeting someone online. A lot of the younger generation.
Yeah, and I think also there's the fear of not finding someone, so people like automatically resort to dating apps when it's actually, I think, a lot easier to meet people organically than people think.
Well, the part we were talking about is like, look, there is no such thing as a good selfie when it's put on a dating app for a guy. It looks bad. It does because
specifically if a guy is able to take good selfies and has like really good pictures of himself, that makes him seem ran through.
Yes, true. Then he's a 304.
Because he shouldn't know what is attractive to women.
Yeah, but the point being that like when you look like if I was like I've never used a dating app, but if I was a woman, I'm looking at all these pictures, it would just look like I was talking to someone recently who said like it automatically turns you off to them. Mm-hmm. Like, because your instincts say, why are you on here? Even though you yourself are also on there, you're like, why are you on here? So I feel like it starts you off in like a net negative.
The dating app system of people meeting is just, it's a broken system that people feel like they have to use.
Yeah.
I would say that if it's for a specific niche of Disney fandom, that's not a winning strategy for finding someone that actually shares your values.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Disney app might have the most success because it consumes so much of their life that they're like, well, what else is there?
I did see a guy who had a picture of himself at Disney with Trump Pence. over the picture.
That one was really fun. That one felt fake to me. This guy was enormous. He was like 500 pounds with a Trump Pence logo behind him. I felt like it was a troll.
And him standing next to like Goofy at Disney. Yeah, I hope that was fake.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Aaron Redacted said, "Are we living in a simulation? By law, you have to tell me if I ask, I think."
Is that like when they say like if you're a criminal and you ask a cop, are you a cop? They have to identify if they're a cop,
which is I believe totally not true.
It's not true at all. It's not true at all. There's like I don't remember what was the one of these things I've been watching lately is so for some reason a lot of these like police departments are putting up YouTube shorts of like interesting police stops.
I love that.
And one of them asked that question. He's like, if I ask if you're a cop, you have to tell me, right? He goes, no. They don't have to tell you. But like, no, I've found like where this one where it's all these like really bad stops where this guy's like, he pulls over this guy who's got like a trailer behind him and it takes him 5 miles to get the guy to pull over because he's just not paying attention. Another one where a guy's watching Netflix on his phone when he gets pulled over and he's like, were you watching videos on your phone while driving? There he goes, yes. He just admits it in front of him, and that's my version of reality TV. But he answered that question. He's like, no, you absolutely do not have to tell them you're a cop if you're undercover.
Confirmed.
Just a Stranger said, "Yo, check out Godzilla -1."
Yeah, a lot of people.
Everyone's saying this.
We got a $20 one here. Can you see? I can never.
Perriite the Prince. Online dating has always been for losers and always will be. Just kidnap women. Whoa. That escalated quickly.
Disavow on that last part. Holy crap.
If by kidnap you mean date.
I mean, but
chivalrously.
What is the difference now between the app and then how many of these celebrities say that they meet their celebrity boyfriend or girlfriend by somebody just sliding into the DMs? Because how else does a famous person meet another person? Because their life is so structured around their job and their work.
That's like how it's always been. From what I understand, it's always their agent calls the other person's agent.
Yeah. Like I would love to.
It's just gone wrong too many times. Too many Adam Levines have happened for that to
Wait, do you want to tell everyone what Adam Levine said?
Do you?
I don't even remember the exact quote.
It was like, holy effing F, that body of yours is absurd. And that got her.
Yep.
That's the line that wooed her.
I think the money and the fact that he's like a multi-platinum recording artist.
But it's weird, right? Because they never met in person. He just sexted her.
But that's still a power trip for her that he's giving her any time at all.
That was so annoying when that came out because she was like, I was manipulated. I didn't know better.
Yeah. Like, that was
his wife was a Google search away, bitch. Yeah. Hiroshima Otaru said the uncle indeed paid for their trip to France. He also said Kieran was his bedwetting cousin in Home Alone.
Oh.
Is that true?
Who's Kieran? Oh, his brother?
Yeah.
That's cute.
And do one more.
Zipcore said, first donation I've done. Have any of you seen Godzilla -1? Highly recommend it. It's movie of the year to me. I hope you guys do a review of it.
Yeah, we keep getting requests to go see it. I have such a hard time with subtitles with movies.
I wish that you guys told us to review it before it came out is the thing. Now it's been like a week.
Yeah.
It's kind of outdated at this point, but I should watch it since all of you like it so much.
Let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back after the fact. Mary, do you want to tell us what's going on with Noah Baumbach?
Yeah, so if you didn't know, Noah Baumbach is the husband, roommate, partner of feminist director Greta Gerwig, who directed the famous Barbie movie that came out this year. And he recently did an interview with his wife talking about the movie's reception and how a lot of people, specifically conservative commentators, perceived the movie to be anti-male with all of its jokes about the patriarchy, and they were called man-hating for it. And he's responded to that criticism by saying, I don't think it should hurt men's feelings. I mean, come on. That was pretty much all he had to say about it. And I think that the question itself doesn't make sense because the jokes that they made about the patriarchy weren't jokes. That was just their portrayal of how the world works.
Yes.
They believe that we live in a patriarchy.
Yeah.
It's not a joke. It's just what they truly believe to be true.
And do they make fun of women in the same way? Not really.
No,
not as much. At least maybe the gynecology thing at the end.
That was supposed to be like a heartfelt, serious moment, though.
Yeah.
Like when she went to the gynecologist at the end. I didn't see that as heartfelt and serious.
No, it
but
didn't
that's what I
stir
was
any
supposed to.
feelings.
But here's the thing.
Come on.
That is a real thing, because when we were coming back from when we were
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Hold please. This is actually relevant to the gynecologist story. So when we were coming back from the flight, Taylor was with us. We all flew back on the same flight.
Okay.
And Taylor was saying that the two flight attendants that sat behind her were talking about their latest trips to the gynecologist. So Barbie clearly worked. The feminist programming is front and center.
Well, not just that. She said she heard one of those women say that her gynecologist is black.
And didn't make any reference to whether
I don't know why that would matter or why that would need to be mentioned, but apparently women do.
They do talk about
their gynecologist appointments with each other.
The feminism is real.
Anyway, so conservative figures blasted Barbie for its patriarchy jokes, which they perceived as being anti-man. Bill Maher called the film man-hating. It also mentions Matt Walsh, calling it the most aggressively anti-man feminist propaganda fest ever put to film. And Ben Shapiro's viral video in which he set Barbie dolls on fire with a barbecue lighter while railing against the movie. And he also did a review of the movie, hating it. And they said, I felt men could take it. I mean, come on. And that sounds silly to say out loud, but we love Ken. And Ken's position is he has no identity outside of Barbie. So I guess they felt like they needed to give him that identity in the end of the movie, and totally squashed our hopes for Barbie and Ken to end up together at the end.
Yeah.
I think the movie was more anti-romance than it was anti-man.
Marriage, anti-connection between men
it was
and women.
anti the complementarity between men and women itself.
It kind of pushes the narrative in a lot of the same ways that a lot of the talk that we have now in dating culture and the differences between men and women is that both sides heavily focus on what sets us apart, what makes us different, rather than focusing on the things that bring us together. I think it's funny because it's such a platitude back in the day, but back in the day in Hollywood, what they would focus on is our differences aren't that, we don't have that much that separates us. We're not all that different, right? That was a big theme back in the day. We're all human was something that you would see in a lot of these things. And I feel like at award shows, they would say stuff like that, like, oh, we're all, why can't we all just get along? We're all more alike than we would like to believe. And now that's never the focus. Even if it's a platitude, it's at least a platitude that would on its face bring people together or try to bring people together.
That you're 100% right, but I feel like unless it's a tangible product. So what they've done is they sell stuff to men, they sell stuff to women, but now they also sell a third product to gender neutral people or non-binary people. So when it comes to consumer products, they want to separate people as much as possible to cover every demographic, but when it comes to movies, they want to separate, contradict the ways in which men and women complement each other and are, work well together, essentially.
One of the things that Lady Ballers did, though maybe perhaps a bit heavy-handedly with the speech that he gives at the end to his daughter, is pointing out that, men and women are different, and even though men excel at these specific things, that doesn't mean that there aren't things that women aren't, that aren't things that women are really, really good at, because there are.
I feel like that speech he gave was the antidote to America Ferrera's horrible speech monologue that was in Barbie, where she just complains about how much it sucks to be a woman, and there's no solution that's offered other than a political revolution that they stage. It just doesn't have any resolution to it.
And these days, the women's complaints and the men's complaints are going to be treated very, very differently. The women's complaints will be taken seriously, and they will be looked at as something that we need to address in society. Groups will be formed and committees will be made. And the men's complaints will say, you're being silly, stop worrying about it.
Well, that's exactly the response that they had to anyone being offended by anti-male jokes in the movie. is why do you care so much? And, you know, get over it. You have fragile, toxic masculinity. So this comedian, Mark Maron, said on social media that Barbie was a masterpiece, and the comedy about men is inspired in the movie. And the fact that certain men took offense to the point where they tried to build a grift around it in terms of their narrative is right-wing beep. It's so embarrassing for them. So embarrassing. Any dude that can't take those hits in that movie, they've really got to look in their pants and decide what they're made of. I mean, beep. What a bunch of eep insecure babies.
Man, babies.
They have to look in their pants, but I thought your gender wasn't determined by what's in your pants.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
which
true.
is also part of the Barbie movies, that no one in Barbie land has genitals. So why can't everyone just be the same?
Yeah. And I think when we reviewed the movie, though I didn't like it, what I said, if I remember correctly, was I actually really enjoyed the first 45 minutes before the platitudes started getting heavy-handed. When it was just Ken and Barbie making their way into the real world, I thought that stuff was done really, really well, and Ken was funny. And let's face it, he was the standout of this movie to most people.
He was.
People remember Ken a hell of a lot more than they remember Barbie. From
That's
that
when I got
film.
excited about the movie too. Is when I knew they were casting Ryan Gosling. He did a great job.
But people didn't really have as much of a problem with what Barbie was saying. They had a problem with America Ferrera as the human character's interpretation of all of these very real world issues, which felt a little heavy-handed, which is why when a person who is traditionally right-wing watches Lady Ballers and gets a little bit heavy-handed dialogue, they're going to be more forgiving of that dialogue because it reaffirms their worldview. Whereas somebody who is a more left-leaning individual who gets some heavy-handed dialogue from America Ferrera will be more forgiving of it because it reaffirms their worldview.
Right. That's what I don't like about that movie, is that we're given such heavy issues and we're given such like surface level solutions.
Right.
And everyone's just coming up with problems like America Ferrera's rant towards the end, and then the solution is to go to the gynecologist.
Yeah.
So we want a real answer. There's deeper solutions and compromises.
It was really
than
thrown together.
that.
And clearly the movie took itself way too seriously. I think that's the main flaw in it. And then anyone who doesn't like it, we have Whoopi Goldberg screaming at us, it's a doll movie. Why do you even care? It's a doll movie for kids. You're ridiculous for having any criticisms of it. When in reality, it was trying to be something much more serious than a doll movie.
Right.
It was trying to make a polemic about society.
Yeah.
It had serious
Gaslighting
messaging
Whoopi.
in it.
People have done the
She
same.
is gaslighting us.
People have done the same. I mean, but they do this anytime you have any critique of any art, right? They say, why do you care? It's not for you. Why do you care this, and that? And look, as somebody who is traditionally very much a, like, if it doesn't affect me, it's none of my business. Like, this job doesn't really allow me to do that in a lot of respects, right? You have to have an opinion on stuff sometimes, even if maybe necessarily it's not something you would find yourself engaged
Actually
with.
caring about.
But, like, when people say, like, why do you care about the message of a movie like Wish? Like, look, it's very easy for me to say that, and on 99 days out of 100, I probably do take that opinion. But I'm also not stupid and understand that the way culture is formed is through stories being passed down by, families, right? Back in the day, your parents would play you their, the movies that they liked and they watched, or they took you to the Disney movies of that time. Now you as parents will have to do that for your kids. So sure, maybe it's a strong interpretation of what you look at as consumerist art. It is. But it doesn't mean it's out of the realm of discussion to consider that worth having that talk.
Art is meant to have a deeper meaning.
Yeah.
No matter like what you want to say. Especially Whoopi Goldberg, who used to be extremely edgy and tries to pretend like she never was.
True.
I mean, but isn't that what usually happens? Like, you're edgy in the beginning of your career, then
Make the money and then retreat.
Well, no, you make
Just
mainstream
read the
success.
script.
You find mainstream success, and then you tone it down little by little until you're the neutered version of yourself. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I'm pretty toned down anyways, but I'm looking forward to the day when I'm just
Nah, you're gonna go full Alex Jones. Just wait. You're gonna do the reverse.
I can't wait to just be an access media shill where I get to ask Rachel Zegler, oh my God, like, what did you think of like the costumes? Like, did you like the costumes? I'll do it. Like, pay me.
You hated them? Oh my gosh, me too, sis.
Me too. Like, I'll do it.
I also watched the Variety Actors on Actors with Cillian Murphy and Margot Robbie to see if they would reveal anything interesting about it, and it was about as uninteresting as you would expect. And I have a conspiracy theory that Cillian Murphy did not watch Barbie. He was fully pretending that he watched Barbie while Margot Robbie was just fawning over him.
Why would he?
Margot Robbie was fawning over Oppenheimer, fawning over Peaky Blinders and his whole career. And she was so excited to be there. And he just seemed very...
passive.
That's
him though.
He was very dismissive. He was just like, I don't know. They asked me to be here. I kind of don't know who you are. I never watched the Barbie movie, but they gave me some notes.
He's like that. Like one of the great ones you'll watch the interview of him because he was being interviewed on the red carpet when the strike went into effect, and he just stops talking and leaves. It's so good.
That's hilarious.
Like he's
also him saying that he doesn't know what memes are went viral several times. I aspire to be that offline one day.
Yeah.
Also, just thought I'd mention, Forbes put out a powerful women list of the 100 most powerful women of the year, and Barbie was ranked 100 on the list, even though she's not a real woman, and not a woman in general.
She's all of you, Mary. She's all of you.
She's every woman.
Barbie joins Forbes' list of the world's 100 most powerful women after emerging as a symbol not only of female empowerment, but the necessity of fighting to recapture power that's been taken away.
See, okay, so take that statement.
Oh, but it's a doll! It's a doll! Why do you care so much? It doesn't mean anything! It's a doll!
Movie. Why do you give a crap? Right?
Well, clearly other people do.
You don't get to say that statement and then say, but it's just a doll movie at the same time, you hypocritical douche canoe.
All right, let's move on to Super Chats. Cora Nelson said #Mocha is the justice. Not just justice, the justice.
There will never, ever, ever be any justice for Mocha the Derpy Cat. You can super chat all you want.
Till the cows come home.
You can send it as hashtags. You can make stickers. You can make refrigerator magnets. You can do all of this stuff. Mocha will never have justice and will never be seen on Cute of the Day again. Sorry.
That's that. DCNC said Swift getting Person of the Year before an election year. Maybe I need one of those Psyop shirts after all.
There you go. That's perfect.
He also said Taylor Swift, wealthy, young, pretty, multi-talented, Grammy award-winning victim.
Well, I mean, isn't that really the long and the short of it? Is like when you see these stories, it's egregious, I guess, when you see it used for clout by people who are just like on social media. That's one thing. But when you have to list, like America Ferrera also had the article recently where she says, Hollywood has not improved one bit in 40 years for Latino culture. Has not done one thing. Okay. No progress has been made. John Leguizamo hasn't made a single movie. Mayans MC is not a TV show. Pedro Pascal is not being cast in literally every single movie that gets made now.
Rachel Zegler isn't Snow White, etc., etc. Jenna Ortega isn't Wednesday. Nothing happened.
It's somehow no progress.
You can't be represented enough. Is the thing that it's never good enough. There's always more work to be done.
Pedro, like literally, like I would like a little bit less progress if it meant that Pedro Pascal didn't get to play every character.
Dang.
I do see a lot of parallels between Taylor Swift and Meghan Markle. The only difference is that Taylor Swift actually has talent and something to offer the world and didn't need to latch herself onto somebody else.
Not true.
To get relevance.
Meghan Markle looks fantastic in pencil skirts. So she
there's that. She has
knows
one
how to open
thing.
a briefcase.
She has one thing going for her.
She can fake being a paralegal very well.
Yeah. Bucky Ducky said, Simps getting on Disney dating, trying to find Mary. Well, I'm not logging into my account ever again, so good luck with that. You can try though. Shane H. Wilder said Disney dating site, so another dating site for dinks. Dinksney.
let's do
That's what they'll call it.
let's hold off on the rest and let's move on. We got one more thing to discuss here. So there is a reality TV star turned influencer named Kristen Cavallari. She was on what was it, The Hills back in the day, and now she's a social media icon of sorts, I guess you could say. But she went semi-viral recently because she had some advice for women. Mary, what was that advice that she had for women?
She tells women that it doesn't matter when you sleep with a guy. It could be on the first date or the 10th date. It has nothing to do with the way that guy will treat you. And I don't know how to interpret this as anything but malice. I don't see this as ignorance. This is a woman in her 40s. She has a kid and she is still out there on the dating scene. She's learned enough from her life to know that this isn't true.
Yeah.
It just seems like she's giving bad advice to women who are younger and more impressionable than her in an attempt to cull her competition.
Andrina points out Laguna Beach. She was on Laguna Beach.
I hated that show.
Man, that was a product.
It was such a phenomenon. Yeah.
Let's look at the video.
Yep, here we go. Oh,
this is from her Let's Be Honest podcast.
How many dates till you sleep with a guy? I've been on this thing in the last 2 years maybe of being like, you should make him wait 3 or 4 dates. I don't think it fucking matters. It doesn't fucking matter if you sleep with him the first date or the 10th date. If there is chemistry and feelings there, it doesn't matter. I saw this relationship coach post 90% of couples who are in the best relationships where they found the one all slept together the first or second date. So I don't think it matters.
Okay, first off, I just want to say no one who says it matters when you sleep with a guy is saying it's never worked out if you've slept with the person on the first date. Obviously there are exceptions to the rule and there are happy relationships that become long-lasting relationships and they hooked up on the first date. I'm sure that happens plenty of the time. But that is not mutually exclusive with pointing out that still matters. Mm-hmm. And also, I think when you give dating advice like this to women, and most of the comments that are agreeing with you are men who just want
They're
sex.
Like, yes, please. That's great advice.
Maybe
Go
that's
off, queen.
Yeah, maybe that's a bad sign. And all of the women in the comments that I've seen are disagreeing with her. So here's one comment from a man. He said, I always say for heterosexual relationships, if the guy is paying for dates, if you're not sleeping with him after 3 dates and he paid, you don't like him like that. When a guy asks someone on a date, they definitely want to sleep with you. If they keep paying and you're not putting out, I do find it a little messed up, especially if he's being a gentleman. Well, first off, I don't think he's a gentleman if the only reason he's paying at Noodles and Company is so that he can penetrate you 3 weeks later.
Wait.
I never thought I'd hear that sentence.
Wait. Noodles and Company.
Yeah, the date location for all of these.
I mean, that
scrubs.
might
as long as it's not Cheesecake Factory.
That might have contributed to why she's a desert down there. Maybe it was the fact that he took her to Noodles and Company.
A guy will post this statement with his face showing, with his name showing, and not feel the slightest bit ashamed of it, when he clearly views women as glorified prostitutes. And if they behave like them, who is to say they're not? If you believe yourself to be the same, your body is the same price as 3 dates to Cheesecake Factory, then you are a glorified prostitute and you are behaving like one. So of course guys are going to treat you that way. So it's really disgusting that he would just say that out loud and people are actually agreeing with him. Another said, trash advice, respectfully. This is from a woman. Another woman said, this is the absolute worst advice to give young females, especially in today's society. Another said, that's why you're divorced and still looking for someone in your 40s. Oof, ouch. And again, I'm not saying that it can never work out if you hook up with someone on the first date. Obviously, there are plenty of people who could say, oh, me, my story. I'm the exception to the rule, right? And it worked out for me. All the time, people will say this. When you make a generalization about how you ought to behave, Someone who is the exception to the rule is going to raise their hand and be like, oh, but it worked out for me. And that's not the point at all.
Right.
So I think this is really just malicious, what she's doing.
I don't know if I see it as malicious. I see it as like you said, ignorance. I think I see it more as a bit of ignorance there in her own interpretation of it. I just
because you can do something doesn't mean that you should.
Yeah.
I mean, she's saying the only thing that matters is if you feel like you want to do something. So just the second that the urge hits you to do literally anything, you should just act on your impulses.
Is the idea,
how does that lead to a long-lasting relationship?
Does the guy feel like if he gets to do so on the first date, if he gets you on the first date, like
you're easy.
The chemistry better be really, really good, because he's just going to see like, well, I'll move on now. Or
he might be really, really desperate if he's not thinking, how many other guys has she done this with?
Yeah.
You know, and like typically someone's behavior when you meet them is how their behavior is going to continue to be in the long term. So if you meet someone and they sleep with you on the first date, what's going to stop them from doing that even after you guys are together with other people? Yeah. She's proven to be pretty promiscuous. I don't buy the study she referenced.
I mean, are you saying like cheating? Like,
yeah,
I'm not even saying that. I'm saying like would the idea be that he looks and he says like, well, how discerning can she be if she did this?
Yeah, maybe just in general.
Yeah, I don't know if it necessarily is an insinuation that anyone's going to cheat on someone. I do see it as perhaps...
I mean, if somebody has a history of promiscuity, they are more likely to cheat.
But I mean that's we're assuming stuff here about that. Like, I'm just saying like if they're saying themselves to be less
statistically proven.
If they're saying themselves to be less discerning of who they have company with, then perhaps the idea is like, look, can I trust her judgment? Like a self-deprecating guy would be like, look, why would she do that with me? This lady has horrible judgment. She should have waited at least 3 or 4 dates to evaluate. I don't know. Like, you know.
Well, I think that's a great point, actually. Even beyond like the increased likelihood for infidelity, it just shows a fallacy in their judgment in general. Like how great of a character are they? How much self-discipline do they have? How much restraint does this person have? Is this someone I would want to be the mother of my kids?
Women might also look at a man not being at all interested right away, though, as being low T and not masculine enough if he doesn't even, like, how does he signal to her that just because he's doesn't want to on the first date doesn't mean that he doesn't want to at all.
If a woman thinks like that, right? She has severely warped perceptions of relationship dynamics.
I don't think that that's unheard of these days.
No, it absolutely is all too common that a woman will equate a guy propositioning her for sex as interest in her as a person. Yeah. And those two things are not synonymous. Dude. And people will just chase after that high of feeling special when in reality, like, a guy propositioning you for sex, it has nothing to do with whether he actually thinks you're special.
Right. It doesn't make you special at all. Like most
literally any woman can get sex with almost any guy at any time, and they don't pursue that. Men don't quite relate to that or understand that because they just don't have our personal experience of it. But like that's not really what women are chasing after when they're engaging in this promiscuous behavior. It's this feeling of being desired because they have a void inside themselves that they need to fill. And it's from their upbringing or past relationships and trauma. And here this woman is just encouraging that self-destructive behavior in other people. Yeah. Likely, not even practicing this way herself. She probably doesn't do what she's advising other women to do. She's sabotaging them.
Yeah.
I was watching some interview with a bunch of like celebrities. I don't even remember who it was now. It said like these women who are like the Real Housewives types in like LA or New York, they'll just take their Uber driver upstairs and have sex with them after driving them home after going out. Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. Oh. Imagine you're the Uber driver and you recognize
Well, I mean, they would probably look for one who doesn't recognize her, because why would any guy recognize a Real Housewives person?
No, he wouldn't.
Yeah,
right?
true.
Well,
and terrifying.
I recognize this as a Catholic who believes in Catholic sexual morality, that the way we talk about it is so different from the way that the secular world talks about it. But they've found a language for it, and it's something called soul ties, which is just the basic belief that, you know, having sex with someone connects you with that other person in a profound way that is irrevocable. And that comment says soul ties are a real thing. You're absolutely damaging yourself if you sleep around and give it up to anyone you have chemistry with. I know I'm old-fashioned, so I'm probably in the minority, but this generation's hookup culture seems so icky. So the way to explain it, I guess, in secular terms is soul ties. And now casual sex has become so far the norm that you have to be considered a special sexual orientation if you want to have sex with only those who you have an emotional connection with. They call that demisexual. Like it's some kind of niche thing.
When I see her words, I don't see malice. I see somebody who's just very of the times. What she's explaining is the norm now, not the exception in the culture.
True.
There's a $20 one here from David Zuniga. Says, never get to catch you all live because of work, but whenever I'm driving for Uber Eats, the Spotify episodes are a godsend. I would go insane without them. Thank you. Don't you have to pronounce? You don't have to pronounce my last name. I don't know how to. There's a famous actor with that last name, and I don't know how to pronounce it. But I have a question. Have you ever met any Real Housewives while driving for Uber Eats? That's the real question, Dave. We need to know.
Zuniga?
And yeah, like for these things, like the fact that there do have to be labels given to these things is sad. But I do think here, just like when we realize that women who talk here about how women shouldn't vote, and then you go back out into polite society and realize that if you said that in any normal environment, you'd be looked at like you were absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Right? We're in our own echo chamber of sorts here.
Right.
And that the real world is very different from the one that we tend to inhabit.
And you said she's how did you word it? A sign of the times?
Yeah, I see her as she's very of the times.
She's
like
of the
most
time.
of these people are of the times.
Someone who just never questioned any narrative that was fed to them.
Yeah, and sounds very insecure, and like she is trying to seek validation by giving this advice to other people so that other people really make the same mistakes that she has made that have gotten her into this position. So if she is of the time, then it's kind of concerning that that could be potentially like the underlying common factor of what's going on with women, at least women her age and in her position.
Yeah.
I see another comment that said, this is the worst advice from a non-expert that gets women hurt. It matters because women produce oxytocin, a bonding hormone, when she has sex. And 2, the risk of STDs, obviously. 3, give yourself time to find out if he's crazy. It's not about trying to get him into you. It's about you being sure he deserves you. 4th, the study you recited isn't real. 5, playing something roulette isn't a dating strategy. 6, your body is worth more. Make him earn it. 7, according to real research, sleeping with a guy too soon interrupts vasopressin in a man, which is his bonding hormone. I'll have to research on that. But I mean, obviously there are plenty of proven physiological reasons that this is a bad idea.
Ladies, wait till at least the 3rd date and do not settle for anything less than Cheesecake Factory.
Why did the 3rd date become the rule?
Like
I just made that.
It's such an arbitrary thing.
It is
but
the thing.
Like
yeah.
the 3rd date is what most people say now.
I mean,
why?
So if I was to look at it on the outside, I would say, like, for the girl, is it the idea that he's willing to move past he's not going to just move on just because he doesn't get what he wants instantly, meaning that he has some sense of self-control and ability to show patience and continued interest despite not getting what he wants immediately, because the assumption is going to be that the guy's going to want it right away. Fair enough. We do most of the time. That is absolutely true. For the guy, I would look at it as something like, if it happens too quickly, then you just give up and move on because you were given it without any effort whatsoever. Now, I'm not saying that. Then a lot of people, we get into those arguments, especially with like red pill channels or anybody who's talking dating, where it's like he paid for dinner, and you get the horrible examples of like the women who lead men on, or just they go on dates just to get dinner, and that's a distraction. That's a side topic, right? But if it's a serious connection and you get to and you're willing to wait, like 3 is absolutely an unbelievably arbitrary number, but any amount of waiting in a culture that doesn't seem to know how to wait for anything anymore seems like a step in the right direction, I guess.
Yeah, our impatience has totally screwed with our like natural mating drives, because for women, they absolutely test men. So the whole idea of waiting to the 3rd date, which I would argue is still way too soon, but to each their own. It's a way to test the man and see if he doesn't get upset with you if you make him wait longer, because then if he does, then he has an uneven, like unpredictable temperament, and he therefore wouldn't be a good father and protector. And then like from the other side, for the men, it's like they kind of need that hunt. So if you sleep with him immediately, like
they're gonna lose interest.
Yeah,
they will. They'll be like okay, moving on, or you'll be seen as something to just go and do that. It'll just become about sex.
Yeah.
Harriet the Prince sent a $20 super chat. Mary being a base Christian is something that makes the world just a little brighter. Also, did you watch Top Secret, the comedy that I suggested last week?
Did you?
I did not.
Is that the animated conspiratorial one?
I don't know.
Maybe. But you're a base Christian, so it's okay.
Well, thanks.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let us go and finish our super chats.
The Ninja Bear said, Mary, did you have to read it in such a cringy way? What if a Lion King Simba lover wants to meet his Disney furry parents? Let's go. I'll see myself out. LOL. Yikes.
Oh, when Disney's and Disney people and furries meet, that's going to be a whole other cultural phenomena.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, damn, Mary beat me to it. LOL. Not sure what you're referring to. Sorenko Productions, were there a lot of women or a lot of Wimixon?
Perhaps both.
Bucky Ducky said, meeting online, okay, dating online isn't dating. Yeah, that's a good distinction to make. Like, I don't know how much detail I want to go into, but I had a friend who said when we met that she had a boyfriend, and I asked her some more questions about it, and it was revealed that they met on Reddit and had never met in person. And I was like, how do I tell you that that's like not a real relationship? Because you don't know who you're talking to. Even if you've like done a video chat, like you don't know who he is like in his life. That I just don't think that that's real dating. And then the first time that they met in person, they got engaged.
Are they still together?
Well, yeah, they got married.
Wow. How long after the engagement?
I still think it's a bad idea, and there were tons of red flags, but there's nothing you can do at some point.
How long have they been together now?
Oh, I guess it's been maybe a year.
Okay. Well, you know.
I don't know.
You never know. Did you tell her how you felt?
I did.
You're a good friend, Mary. Because most people will appease. I want those friends that tell me the truth.
And
to my face.
I'm never the person who will say congratulations if I don't fucking feel that way. Like, I'm not going to comment congratulations. Good, yeah. Like, I don't feel that way. Yeah. And like, I hope that can be appreciated.
I will absolutely tell you congratulations.
Yeah, you're fake. You're gonna be a fake person because congrats.
Because I have,
even if you don't.
Because my opinion of your life is not super important.
Well, I'm okay with my opinion. Yeah, I'm okay with my opinion about someone else's life being unimportant. Yeah. But clearly they think it's important if they need my praise and adulation for something that I don't support. But, you know, we could still be friends even though we both know that I don't support your relationship. That's fine.
Totally.
Chief Op-Off said, Brett, you're having an excellent hair day today, my friend.
Thank you.
It does look good. Yeah, I like the little piece that's in the front.
The lady who cuts my hair just she's on a power trip. Now that I have like a lady that cuts my hair now.
You might be psychoanalyzing it a little too much, but
so I like it took forever to find like a lady that can cut my hair that doesn't butcher it, and she like just it doesn't have any time. I want to get rid of the blonde as quickly as possible. It is finally long enough where I can cut the blonde off and have a halfway decent haircut.
Exciting.
But not going to trust somebody else to cut it off. If I didn't have to be in front of a camera, I probably wouldn't care, and I would just have somebody else do it. But since I'd actually like it to look halfway decent.
Wait, so why is she on a power trip?
She's just not answering.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. So that, of course, means that she's on a power trip.
It's actually a plot against me. She's not busy. She's
shit testing you.
She is.
There you go. Yes.
The Ninja Bear said Brett must now wear the From MySpace to My Place shirt from this day forward. It is decreed. Let's go.
It was
from MySpace
technically
to
it
My
was
Place.
from
Wow.
MySpace to her place.
Well, then she would wear the shirt.
She would have to wear the shirt. It was her place, not mine.
High Voltage 75 said I'm well into my 30s and I don't do the dating app stuff or online dating. The last 2 girls I dated, I met through work acquaintances.
Nice.
Yeah, well,
Still possible.
because of the fact that HR is ramped up and then Me Too happened, people aren't even able to meet through work anymore. It sucks.
Yep, because all those HR-looking ladies on the Disney app are going to be there to ruin it for you.
Yeah, they're the real problem. Pat the Plumber said we just watched The Burbs on VHS a million times.
There you go. Just watch. I watched a lot of the same movies growing up. I would rewatch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I would rewatch the movie Rad, the biking movie. I would rewatch the 1991 recap of the Twins vs. Braves World Series compilation that they made on VHS. Yeah.
DCNC said, has Brett perfected the Mickey voice because he's a secret Disney adult?
They're not getting the Disney
They're
voice.
not getting
They're
the
not getting
Mickey
the
voice?
Just because of that accusation, he's not getting the Mickey voice. Maybe if somebody said something more polite, I might give them the Mickey voice, but otherwise they're not giving
Gotta
it.
earn it.
Yeah.
Quite Blackpilled said there's only one every woman, Sarah, and he's downstairs.
Yes. Dane would be
Dane
everyone.
Font. John Bert said hashtag justice for Mocha with the number 4.
Again, I reiterate, there will be never, none, zero, zilch, nada, no justice for Mocha.
9.
Gordon Shumway said, looks like you guys need to make merch about Mocha, pro and anti. Just saying, let's go.
That's actually, like, the idea of monetizing my hatred for a cat is actually kind of awesome. I don't know how Olivia would feel about me monetizing my hatred for her derpy cat, but, you know.
The Ninja Bear said, a man needs to feel like he has earned a woman's love and affection. Otherwise, it's like everything else that they don't earn. It becomes meaningless and is never appreciated.
There you go.
The Manic Mustache said, hey gang, late as always. Met my wife on a dating app. She asked me if I wanted a cup of coffee before my drive home. It was the first time I had ever refused.
Wow. What? Okay.
Is that supposed to be code for...
Yes. Is that what cup of coffee mean that?
That's very Seinfeld.
Okay. Yes.
You know what I mean? That was always the speak they used in Seinfeld. Shane H. Wilder said I was referring to the Disney Dinks comment. Oh, yes, Dinksney. Sirenko Productions said, no, bring back Blonde Brett. They want it. The people want it.
Sorry, guys, but we're quite far away from the next 100th episode, so maybe by then my hair will be dark again, and then you can 35 crisis parties your way back to blonde, but we'll have to wait till that happens.
High Voltage 75 said excuses. Just admit that you love the blonde, Brett.
I will not do that. I don't hate the blonde. But it's just uneven now, and it's like...
Well, get your roots done. Get your roots done then.
It just looks like frosted tips.
Or actually, you should get a mohawk next. Do you think that would be good?
It doesn't work because I have a colic in the back that makes it uneven. They have to she has to work like wizardry around it to make my hair look normal.
Darth Doza said, Sarah, can I order coffee and tea through the Timcast page?
Nope, you got to go to castbrew.com.
He also wasn't sure if your name has an H at the end. There is no H. It's Sarah without an H. Bucky Ducky said, true Mary, something given has no value. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Okay. All right, guys. Before we go, Would you hit the like button on this video, and would you subscribe here if you have not done so already? We got one more, Mary, from Gordon Shumway. He says, Brett, since you watch Rad, did you ever watch Thrashing? If not, check it out. I haven't seen Thrashing. I've seen Gleaming the Cube. I've seen a lot of the movies from that era that were all action sports related. They're all fantastic. It's so cheese. Watch Rad just for the soundtrack. Send Me an Angel by Eraser and all the John Farnham songs like... You just go watch it. I think if you can find it on a streaming service now. There was a period of time where somebody had it on YouTube and it got taken down like several times. I may or may not have tried to upload it to YouTube a few times back in the day before having taken it down. But go and check it out if you have not. Watch it for the Hell Track scene at the end. Watch it for the race in the middle. It's so good. So go and check it out, guys. One more here from Bucky Ducky says, can I get a Star Wars tier list from y'all? Mary, yeah, you're the new Star Wars fan here. Give a tier list.
Star Wars fan. I wouldn't really take on that moniker, but let me think. Well, crap. I just realized I don't know the names of any of them. I know them by the number.
You should post it on Twitter.
Whatever it is, one is last on the list. I'll figure it out. Yeah.
All right.
And one more from DCNC. Third party. Okay, we're pretty close to a third party. So.
Oh, yes. God, I didn't even realize that. Does anybody want to contribute and get us a third party before we go? It would be a post-credit scene, likely. They can go ahead and do that. But I will sit here and wait while we do that. But, guys, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Donate and do that third crisis party if you want that to happen. By the way, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me back.
Why don't
as
you
always.
let everyone know where they can find you?
Yeah, so you can find us. You can buy our coffee at castbrew.com. You can follow us on Twitter or X. It's at Castbrew Coffee. We also have a link for our merch there, as well as a link to our coffee website. We're also doing something really exciting coming up with Alex Stein, who was on this show on Friday, right?
Yes.
Last Friday.
Yeah.
So that should be coming out hopefully soon, and we'll be sure to announce it on our Twitter. We also have an Instagram, castbrew_coffee. Follow us on both. Thank you.
Perfect. You said that like a public service announcement.
They needed it.
That was beautiful. Mary, there's a couple more there.
Yes. Pat the plumber said, are we taking hostages?
Well,
it looks like that.
That is up to you guys. Are you taking us hostage? You'll have to let us know.
And Bucky Ducky says, you too, Brett. I want your opinion too.
I have seen all of them exactly one time. I have no strong opinions on anything Star Wars. I don't care. It's never mattered to me. Mm-hmm. I don't. I am, however, I keep restarting and trying to watch Babylon 5 and Farscape. So maybe I'll have opinions on those as well as SGU.
Another one from DCNC. Let's go, Mark Twain, 2023.
Is that a quote from?
It's true. Yeah. It's real. Okay.
And then there's one more. I don't know if you want to read that one, Mary.
No, I'm gonna refrain from that one. Do you want to?
He says that coffee makes him go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank
and
you
then
for
one
the
more
$20.
here from High Voltage 75.
Mary, check out The Good Son next if you like Macaulay Culkin, underrated thriller.
Yes. Go watch.
I've never heard of this.
What I want you to do, I want you to watch Home Alone. And then immediately after watching Home Alone, I want you to watch The Good Son. So he's, I won't even explain to you, but the first time, I didn't see The Good Son when I was younger. I saw it when I was older, and I was tripping on Ambien. And it was freaking crazy the first time I watched it, because I had just watched Home Alone and then watched it. Uh-huh. You have to see it and let people, let's say, he's the opposite of Kevin McAllister, except for when Kevin McAllister is ruthlessly, torturing bad guys. In that way, he's a little bit more like Kevin McAllister. Otherwise, he's very different. You have to watch it.
Okay.
And then there's one more there, Mary.
Shane H. Wilder said, Sarah adding Coke to the coffee for Stein.
No.
Do you have a fentanyl blend?
No, it's straight coffee. Our coffee is just that good.
You could watch the movie My Girl. My Girl is a very sweet movie that Macaulay Culkin made when he was very, very young.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's him.
Yeah. I don't know where we got this idea that I'm some kind of Macaulay Culkin super fan, but thanks for the suggestions anyway.
All right, okay, let everyone know they can find you.
Yes, you can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. Guys, if you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twix on at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Heads up, I will be doing an interview on Friday with Culture Casino on his YouTube channel. I'll remind you guys about it again on Friday. It's going to be at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So, and then if you want to follow the show, well, we are 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would like to listen rather than watch. We got one more super chat here from Gordon Shumway. He says, Thrashing has a great soundtrack too and a cameo from RHCP before I don't even know how to pronounce that.
Hillel Slovaksk.
You're more Eastern European than me.
Apparently.
Perfect. And then one more here from Serenko Production says, hostage party, only 32 more to go. And I'm guessing that has something to do with...
hashtag bring back blonde Brett.
Perfect. You're almost there, guys. Just 30,
so close.
32 more if you want to do that. Guys, we're here 5 days a week, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, noon Pacific, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you'd like to listen rather than watch. If you'd like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at PopCulture_show, Facebook and TikTok at PopCultureCrisis, Instagram at PopCultureCrisisPod. Looks like you'll be getting that crisis party in a post-credit scene. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow with another episode. Later.
Bye.
Crisis.